on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. And kickoff is coming up next.
Live in Atlanta.
MEAC Football on ESPN3 and the MEAC Digital Network. Jonathan Duran alongside Joe Simmons. It's almost time for a fantastic game here in the Bull City of Durham, North Carolina. One of the largest games of the week as North Carolina Central playing right now. North Carolina A&T and South Carolina State both trying to make the way to the top of the standings, as North Carolina Central will get a chance to return to start this game. It's Cotterington, and he'll be spun down at about the 21-yard line, and the Eagles will have the football going from right to left. North Carolina A&T playing host to Bethune-Cookman right now, and that game has major implications on what's going to happen in this game, as everything is still up for grabs. We've seen a lot over these last few years. 5-way ties, 3-way ties. There's only been a couple of outright winners over the last few years, and it's been North Carolina Central and North Carolina A&T.
Yeah, right away when you look at North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T been able to keep the trophy in North Carolina for such a long period of time, and right now you've got a whole bunch of teams wanting to get their hand on that trophy.
Eagles will have the football first. They'll start in a shotgun set from their own 20-yard line. They'll turn around and keep this ball on the ground. It'll be Isaiah Totten. He shrugs off the first tackler, and it'll keep the momentum going forward. And for North Carolina Central, definitely they want to get that ground game going.
Especially with the weather today. It's cold, it's windy. It's not going to be easy to make a lot of long throws outside the numbers, so getting that running game together is going to be essential.
Last week with the weather, we were saying we couldn't ask for much more. Today we could ask for a lot more. 48 degrees at kickoff, and it might rise a little bit, but it's not going to rise by much. Eagles get a couple of yards on first down. They stay in the shotgun set. Another handoff. There's a seam for Totten, but the door closes very quickly. It's now third down.
Yeah, the inability to sustain the block by the left tackle allowed the defender to release and get the tackle close to making it in the backfield. He was able to get a yard on the play.
The front five for North Carolina Central like this: Ricky Lee, Robert Mitchell, Samadina Okezie, Okeke, Andrew Dale, and Devin Jordan. And they'll be doing their job to protect Davius Richard, the quarterback. Great season so far this year. He's thrown for over 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's gotten into the end zone 3 times on the ground himself. And he had one of the best passing days in school history last week, besides just some other guy named Earl Harvey. So he steps back to pass, and that one incomplete, looking for McDaniel on the near side. And now it's fourth down. But Davius Richard, he's going to be one of the guys that North Carolina Central is going to rely on in this game.
He is. He's one of those guys who has the ability to get hot at any moment, and he starts to connect down the field. One of the things we have to do is finish drives off a little better, so getting that running game started is going to help make his job just a lot easier.
So North Carolina Central forced 3 and out on their first possession, and now South Carolina State, with their explosive offense, they're going to get the ball next, and they'll be back to return. It'll be Jawan Moody standing at the 50-yard line, and North Carolina Central, I guess a little bit late on their substitution package there. They get their last man out there. But Caro's going to have 4 seconds to receive this snap, and they do get it to him just in time. And that punt is blocked, picked up by North Carolina Central. It couldn't have gone worse. Well, it could have gone worse, but it could have gone better as well.
Yeah, that's a bad situation right there. And in that case, you almost want to call a timeout, even though it's early in the quarter, because you don't want to send or give a team like South Carolina State this type of field position this early in the game.
Another look at that blocked punt there, but good gracious. South Carolina State into the backfield so quickly, able to stop the punt from getting off.
Yeah, and a good job by the Eagles of recognizing that the ball had been blocked and getting on. They're not allowing South Carolina State to return it for any more yardage.
So South Carolina State with the football inside the red zone just barely. Or rather, I guess they're going to be right on the cusp at the 20-yard line. As they go now from left to right on your radio dial. Shotgun with 4 receivers in the backfield. It's Corey Fields. Fields slings this one for the end zone. That pass high and complete. Looking for the back corner. And a great toss there, but Corey Fields unable to connect.
Yeah, good job that time by the defensive back of trying to recover. Looked like he slipped a little bit on the play, but was able to recover and get into a better position. But after last week, the defensive back are probably going to get tested very well.
Corey Fields, he's one of our other players to watch for South Carolina State. He was not the primary quarterback to start the year. That honor belonged to Tyrese Nick, but Corey Fields has taken over, and he's won the job. As it looked like there was movement, there was no flag thrown. He's going to go for the end zone again, and this time it's caught, but just out of the backside of the end zone. A great pitch there, and a great grab there in the back to the wide receiver, Shaquan Davis, the redshirt freshman from Summerville, South Carolina. But incomplete, now third down, but a flag is thrown. It did look like there was movement, and I didn't see the flag thrown initially. But I guess they're going to make up for it now.
Yeah, maybe there was an illegal shift.
And it looks like South Carolina State will move back. So they move the ball back to the 25.
Number 2, making a movement that encourages the defensive player to come across the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, second down.
So the quarterback, Corey Fields, makes a movement, which is deemed to be illegal. So the Bulldogs will move back about 5 yards.
And very rarely do you see that called in college football. You see it called a lot in the NFL, but the quarterback bobbing his head and instigating, which simulated the snap count that created an offsides.
They'll motion a wide receiver from left to right, and there is Tyrese Nick, the other quarterback, and he's going to lose a handle on it. That might have been a forward pass. Was it a fumble? Either way, it looks like North Carolina Central's on top of it.
It was definitely a fumble because he lost it. He tried to cut and bring his arm underneath it to bring it back to his body. So the Eagles did a good job of recovering. I'm sure they're going to review this, but it looked like it was actually a fumble because his arm came underneath it trying to hold on to the ball.
And this Eagle football team that's been one of the best in all of NCAA Division I FCS in turnovers. Play is under further review. Another look at Tyrese Nick. So he turns and, at Corey Fields, he turns and try to spin that one. It looked like it might have been a forward pass, which is why I'm a little bit on the fence here.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's hard to tell right away. You saw the arm come back, but it looks like he tries to cradle the ball and brings his hand around the other side, and the ball comes out. He may get lucky and get away with the benefit of the doubt as the officials look at this because this is one that could go either way.
I'll tell you what, his mechanics didn't let him down there. When he let the ball go, it was a nice tight spiral.
It really was.
So Corey Fields hanging in the balance right now. Is it an incomplete pass or a fumble lost? And while we take a look at that, let's take a look and see what's going on around the MEAC. So when we left off at the start of the game, North Carolina A&T, they were leading Bethune-Cookman 14-0, which of course has implications on this game, as we mentioned earlier. If North Carolina A&T wins, that allows the door to open for North Carolina Central. If Bethune-Cookman wins, then South Carolina State has the door open for them.
Yeah, both teams need a little bit of help to get in to the position to win the conference championship, but it really stems with what either team does today more than anything.
The Aggies playing at home at BB&T Bank Stadium. They are leading now 20-7. Second quarter, 5:45 to go. I tell you what, Aggie Stadium, as it was known, BB&T Stadium now, has a difficult place to play. One of the larger venues in the league. One of the other larger venues is the home site of the visiting team today is South Carolina State. Oliver C. Dawson Stadium, one of the larger stadiums as well. So you get another look. Oh, man, I can't tell.
I think they're probably going to call it an incomplete pass because of his arm finishing forward the way it did, but it's really going to be hard to tell. It's not a lot there, but it may just be enough to overturn what they eventually called on the field. Because typically if it's taking this long, they're trying to figure out how much time to put back on the clock.
So they're still talking this one over. Jonathan Duran alongside Joe Simmons here from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. As we were talking about with the conference standings making our way towards the end, a champion will rise at the 2019 Celebration Bowl. The champions of the MEAC and SWAC will meet at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday, December 21st to fight for black collar supremacy. The game will be broadcast live on ABC starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Visit thecelebrationbowl.com for more information.
And it looks like they are overturning the call and moving the football back to where it was at the original line of scrimmage. as it'll be third down for South Carolina State.
13 minutes and 14 seconds.
So they will reset the clock. It is an incomplete pass. So Corey Fields will benefit here. Almost a tough break for him, but he'll go back out there with his offensive line of Malik Mickle, Tyson Gray, Michael Terry, Jalen Page, and Alex Terry. And another look at that pass there. And like I told you, my first thought, I thought it was incomplete. Definitely could have gone either way.
Yeah, it looked like the ball slipped out of his hand a little bit. It was one of those where it could have gone either way, but a good job by the officials of figuring it out.
3rd and 15. Both quarterbacks on the field now for South Carolina State, both Fields and Tyrese Nick. Fields will take the snap. Throws this one. That pass caught by DeMontrez Burrows, and that is touchdown number 13 for him this year. Bulldogs strike first.
Yeah, what a pass and what a job of catching it and turning back inside. He threw him into a better position, and he was able to run into the end zone and score the touchdown. And what a change of events. Here you see the pass coming back and the quarterback letting it go, threw it on a dime and dropped it in there for the receiver, made it easy for him to make the catch and get into the end zone.
DeMontrez Burrows, he had a whale of a game last week. 5 touchdowns. He had 2 catches that didn't go for touchdowns, and he's just keeping rolling on that same vein as the extra point is good. South Carolina State now leads this contest 7-0. Take a look at that last drive from the Bulldogs as they strike first. They go 3 plays, 20 yards in 21 seconds. That last drive, closer look at it, brought to you by North Carolina Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat. Visit them online at nceent.com. Well, South Carolina State, they score first and definitely helped out by a short field.
They were helped out by a short field on the block punt, and also the turn of events on the fumble that wasn't a fumble, and they capitalized on those 2 opportunities and were able to put the ball in the end zone.
So 7-0, South Carolina State leads as they'll jog out to kick it away. Dylan Bredson will be the kicker, and back to return will be Brandon Cotterington. And North Carolina Central ready to try to bring this one back. Cotterington has had 1 kick return this year. Kick returns, of course, hard to come by in this game. You need a lot of speed. This one's going to be dropped down for the right side. It will be for Cotterington. And Cotterington looking upfield, shakes his way outside, and he'll be brought down to the 25-yard line. Ryan McDaniel, the secondary returner, he hasn't had many opportunities this year. Interesting to see North Carolina Central rotating somebody else back there. But North Carolina Central stopped on their first drive, 3 and out. They're going to try to pick up their first down of the game here.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see them come out to the short passing game and try to get the quarterback in a little bit of a rhythm right now and see if they can't get something going offensively.
7-0 South Carolina State. They score on their first drive. They only had to go 20 yards to get there. Still set North Carolina Central up here at the 25. A 3 wide receiver shotgun. Hand the ball off to the tailback, and South Carolina State, they know what this Eagle team wants to do. They stopped that run cold. Isaiah Totten with nowhere to go.
Yeah, South Carolina State did a good job that time. Defensive line pinching inside and taking away the gaps for nowhere for Totten to go. And that penetration within the defensive line is going to make running the ball hard for the Eagles today.
Isaiah Totten, he's one of the leading rushers in the MEAC. 599 yards and 3 touchdowns coming into this game, but really not the same Isaiah Totten that has been seen in the MEAC over the last 2 years. As Richard rolls on the next snap, throws this one on a nice dime all the way up to the 48-yard line, complete to Deshaun Stevens, one of the many seniors for North Carolina Central today.
Yeah, excellent job of Stevens of running the corner route, and with cover 2 that time, the quarterback did a good job of leading him into the boundary and not allowing the safety to make a play as there's somebody underneath and over top, but a good throw by the quarterback, giving him an opportunity to make a great catch and control the ball and bring it down for the first down.
And Stevens looked like he picked up a bit of a knock. He goes out. Barry Campbell will go in his spot in the slot on the near side. Eagles going back to the ground game. No play action. That one fought for on the near side. and the wide receiver comes up the victor. Barry Campbell right into the game. How's that for your first catch?
Yeah, nice job of controlling it. It looked like the defensive back was going to snatch it away and take it to the end zone. As you can see, as the quarterback sets back and throws quick outside the numbers, doesn't see the corner squatting on the other side, and a good job by the receiver of fighting for the football and bringing it in and controlling it and getting about 2 yards on the play.
That was a near gift for the DB on the near side. But North Carolina Central holds on to it. Pass goes for about 4. 2nd and 6. Across midfield for the first time today into Bulldog territory. A very windy day, 48 degrees. And the snap below, Isaiah Totten's going to jump on top of it and just make sure he keeps it for North Carolina Central. Now 3rd down and a long way to go.
Yeah, good job by Totten of recognizing there was nowhere to go. He didn't try to be heroic. You can see the snap is low and both turn for it. Totten scoops it up and secures the football and makes sure that they get another down out of this possession.
3rd down, long way to convert. North Carolina Central has been on both the giving and receiving ends of long 3rd down conversions. Davius Richard, he has the ability. He stands in the pocket, pressure's coming, that pass incomplete, looking for Trevion Pratt on the near side. And now 4th down, South Carolina State, they're in secondary. They gave up one big play, but they've been everywhere on the field so far.
They have, and their defensive line is doing a really good job of getting that push up front. And the offensive line is going to have to do a better job of staying in front of those guys. They can't allow them to get to the quarterback that easily without sending a lot of pressure. That time they brought the linebacker, but it still should have been an easy pickup. But the offensive line failed to pick it up the way they needed to.
Back to return, there's the man that scored the first touchdown of the day, DeMontrez Burrows. Again, just an incredible wide receiver. He's back to return this one from Picaro. Picaro, one white shoe, one black shoe. Gets that punt off cleanly this time around. It knocks it to one of the Eagles at the 40-yard line, and North Carolina Central just struggling in the kicking game so far.
Yeah, the special teams have struggled a little bit. I understand the logic by wanting to use the rugby-style kick, this because they're going into the wind in this possession, but that's been 2 failed attempts where he's kicked it a little bit too low, and nothing good has come out of either one of them.
7-0 South Carolina State leads. You're watching MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. The final home game for North Carolina Central and the penultimate game of MEAC action as the Bulldogs go on the ground and a big hole open up for the tailback, and he trucks his way through. LeBron Morris takes that one for about 15.
Yeah, he took it for a ride that time. It looked like he could have probably gotten more out of there if he'd have been able to make a cut, but he did a good job of securing the football. You see there's an opportunity for him to come down, and the defensive end had to make a choice between the quarterback and the running back. As he had the quarterback responsibility, the linebacker just was too late to show up, and he was able to bust loose for a big gain.
LeBron Morris on the ground, 5 scores this season. 110 carries for 458 yards. They're going to go back to the air attack, and that one hits Burrows in the hands. But apparently it wasn't close enough for him.
Yeah, he looked like he wanted to take it outside, and the quarterback led him inside, and he was unable to secure the catch. Tough job that time. The quarterback did a good job of getting the ball, though, out of the turn. If he'd have been looking inside, he probably would have gotten another 5 or 6 yards on the catch.
And Burrows probably a little bit harder on himself for dropping that one after making such a great catch for his first catch of the game to walk into the end zone. 2nd and 10 now for the Bulldogs. Set up at the 40-yard line in Eagle territory. They go on the handoff once again, and another big hole for Morris, and he'll drag the defender up to the 35.
Yeah, good job that time by the offensive line of opening up gaps, doing a good job of getting movement on the defensive line and allowing them to make, allowing the running back to get 5 yards on the carry.
3rd and mid for South Carolina State, manageable for them. They're 1 for 1 on 3rd down in this game. North Carolina Central 0 for 2. Haven't had much success yet on their first couple of drives. South Carolina State will motion their backup quarterback, and now here is the pass. It's tipped, and it's incomplete. Now it's 4th down. Joe, what do you think of that? South Carolina State, they've got Corey Fields in the backfield. They also put Tyrese Nick on the field as well at wide receiver and send him out in motion.
Well, they give him an opportunity to give you a bunch of dual-threat plays. He's an explosive player who can play multitude of positions, but what they do is they give themselves an opportunity for a check down with an athlete that can really make something magic happen.
The wind's still whipping here. It's actually whipping up here in the press box as well, blowing our materials around. You look at the posts on both sides of the field. It looks like the wind blowing from left to right in the face of the Eagles as they get ready to return this punt. And this one is going to get carried by the wind. It's going to go into the end zone on the fly for a touchback. And that's some strong wind going on right now today.
It is, and that's one of the reasons why you've seen the Eagles come out and run the ball as much as they have so far early, even though they like to get a passing game going. Throwing into that wind is going to prove fairly difficult, especially with a young quarterback.
17-mile-per-hour winds right now. At first, it looked like it was going to rain today, and all of us had flashbacks to when North Carolina Central hosted Florida A&M 3 years ago in Hurricane Matthew.
Yeah, that was rough.
And actually, last year, North Carolina Central and South Carolina State, this very matchup in Orangeburg was delayed because of Hurricane Florence. So today, we're getting the winds, not the rain. As they go on the read here, they'll go counter with the tailback. They go to the backup, the spell man. That's Jordan Freeman. He'll carry it for a couple of yards. Freeman, the redshirt junior from the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. 60 carries for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns this year. This Eagle backfield, they've really had 3 different tailbacks to count on, Totten, Freeman, and Mookie Collier as well, and they really like to rotate them through, but it just didn't work for them last week when they took on Norfolk State. As they go back on the ground, Freeman is going to take the tackler with him. He'll get back to about the line of scrimmage, but not much more.
Well, all 3 of the running backs bring a lot of the same thing to the table, and they need that one big back that you can just pound. And one of these guys has the potential to probably gain enough weight to be that guy, especially over the time that they've been here. So they need that 215 to 220-pound back that you can rely on short yardage situations as well.
And they turn it over to Collier now, the redshirt freshman, 5'10", 185. He's in the backfield, but Richard forced to pass, has a nice pocket, swings this one, is caught on the near side, but a quick tackle brought down there by the defensive back from South Carolina State, Jaden Brunson. And Brunson has been one of the big guys. He actually almost was the guy that came up with that pick earlier in this game.
Yeah, come up a little bit short that time, and it'll be 4th and 1. So the punt team back out again, and let's see if they have more success this time than they did last time.
Well, Picaro, unfortunately, punting into the face of the wind.
Yeah, that's why he's trying to do the rugby-style kick, because typically we've seen him kick it a lot of different ways. But with this wind blowing, it's going to be tough.
The snap is clean to him. And he's able to get that one off. It'll bounce end over end. And that one almost once again ran into one of the Eagle gunners, but a flag thrown during the return in the backfield, pretty far away from the play.
Yeah, way away from the play, which means that there could be too many men on the field. And if there were, that'd be an Eagle first downs.
The referee checking. Head referee today leading the crew, Rory Bernard.
Let's see what the call is.
Equipment violation. Return team. 2 number 12 played during the down.
Oh.
5 yard penalty on the previous spot, which resulted in the first down for North Carolina Central.
Yes, sir.
So 2 number 12s, Jalen Evans. He's the defensive back. And then Shaquan Davis, the wide receiver. And again, it's just one of those things about the double numbers. And North Carolina Central actually benefited from a double number penalty on the road at Morgan State earlier this year.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm not a big fan of the double numbers. I mean, there's neither team has 100 players on the team, so you don't need to have double numbers. But I understand offensively and defensively, guys want to keep their number.
Eagles go play action. They complete that one to E.J. Hicks, his first grab of the day.
Yeah, nice job of exploding that time out of the cut by Hicks. I really like how he exploded through the ball that time on the catch. Good timing by he and the quarterback.
E.J. Hicks able to push the Eagles forward for about 8 yards. 2nd and 2. Xavier Richard waits on the next snap, and they'll go on the ground for Collier. Collier bottled up, but he somehow found a gateway to fall forward. Might have got to the line of scrimmage, and even if so, that's good enough.
Yeah, I think he got about a half a yard or a yard on the play, but the Eagle offensive line is really struggling with their South Carolina defensive front. They're getting a big push almost on every possession, especially when the Eagles are running the football.
South Carolina State, a big front four led by Bruce Johnson, Tyrell Goodwin, Rod Perry, and Dominguez Wilson, 2 preseason All-MEAC selections. 225, 265, 310, and 280. As Richards got to keep this one, shrugs off the first tackle, takes him all the way.
Corner and was able to outrun the guy who had him in the defensive responsibility. And as you see it right here on the replay, one of the things he does is he reads the defensive end crashing down and gets to the edge. And when he gets to the edge, he's a handful to tackle. He's a big, strong guy at 6'3", 200 pounds.
Davius Richard on the ground. 43 carries for 213 yards. Of course, as a quarterback, those sack yardage will go against you. But still, 3 scores for him, and one of them plus 60 yards. They'll hand this one off for Collier. Collier through the gap. He'll pick up maybe 2.
Yeah, good job that time by the right tackle. He got nice push on the outside and was able to help him get positive yards, but he looked to cut it up a little bit too quick. That was when he probably should have taken hash numbers boundary, and he would have gotten at least 5 yards on the run.
So a pickup of a couple. They'll move 2 yards. Now second down. North Carolina Central finding more success on this drive than they have in all of their previous drives so far to start the game. 5 minutes to go in the first frame. Bulldogs ahead 7-0. MEAC Football and the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3 as Richard on the 3-step drop swings that one. I think the wind might have got a hold of that one, so you hear that one whipping our microphone right now. Apologies for that, but again, when you got winds reaching close to 20 miles per hour, some funny things are going to happen to the football.
And that time he did a good job of getting rid of the football. I thought there was a little bit of excessive of a throwdown that time at the end of the play, but the official didn't think so, and he's standing up and getting ready for this third down.
Third down. The Eagles trying to convert. They've only converted once on 4 tries on third down so far in this game. Both teams even as far as yardage gain. 49 yards, but the Eagles have run 10 more plays, and that one is complete to Deshaun Stevens, but he'll be shy of the marker, and it'll be fourth down.
Yeah, he did a good job that time with the square in as South Carolina State was in a 3-3-5 defense. He had the short square in, and it looks like the Eagles are going to go for it on fourth down.
I mean, you absolutely cannot kick a field goal here, but the Eagles are going to move. Bulldogs move as well. Everybody is pointing in the opposite side. North Carolina Central is pointing at South Carolina State, and
well, now you got to punt the football.
It's always funny when you get a false start. Both the lines stand up and start pointing at each other like it's a West Side Story. The Jets and the Sharks start snapping at each other saying, listen, it's your fault. It's your fault.
Well, 50 was right to a degree. The guy in front of him moved, but I don't think he broke into the neutral zone, so he reached up and tried to touch him and made it seem like he drew him off. And that's a tough situation at time, and it cost us 5 yards.
So the Eagles move back, and they'll punt once more. It'll be John Picaro. Back to return will be DeMontrez Burrows again. Hasn't had an opportunity to get his hands on the football. Looked like a little bit of movement right before, but this one high into the air. Burrows under it at the 12. He nearly dropped it. And the Bulldogs will take over all the way back there. 7-0 is our score. 3:56 remaining here in the first quarter. You're watching MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Look at me. MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here at O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. As the Bulldogs stay on the ground, they'll hand it off again to LeBron Morris. Morris met by a scrum. But LeBron Morris, he's been the guy that South Carolina State has been asking to carry. 2 carries for 24 yards. Do the quick math. That's 12 yards a carry for Morris.
He's doing a good job. He's explosive as well. And that time he showed a lot of patience in the backfield. There was nothing there initially. He gave that interior 3 an opportunity to open it up for him, and then he was able to explode for a couple yards.
That last carry doesn't go for 12. It goes for 5, which is enough. They give it to him again, lowers his shoulder, and he's going to get them close to the sticks, now 3rd and short.
Yeah, he's that downhill running back that you'd like to have on your team, and, you know, he tries to get straight downhill, and he doesn't make a lot of cuts. he makes his decision and makes his mind up, and he goes at it.
LeBron Morris, he's one of the outliers on this South Carolina State 2 deep from Decatur, Georgia. There's him. There's 2 other players that are not from the state of South Carolina on that 2 deep.
That's pretty strong.
Palmetto State recruited very well for Coach Buddy Pugh and this Bulldog team, showing that you don't have to go too far to create a winning program. As they go play action, that pass incomplete, looking for Burrows. And now 4th down.
Fields pass.
LeBron Morris to Montrezl Burrows, 2 players outside of South Carolina. Burrows from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Michael Terry, the preseason second-team All-MEAC center from Duluth, Georgia. It just goes to show, again, you don't have to go too far to make a strong team.
Yeah, and the guys that you called, they're all within a few minutes of the school. Georgia and Charlotte, which are right on the border. So doing a good job of getting kids within his reach.
2nd down and 10. Both quarterbacks into the backfield again. It'll be Corey Fields. He'll underhand it to the other quarterback. That's Tyrese Nick, but nothing there for him. A nice little gadget play for South Carolina State in this first quarter. Nothing gained, but now 3rd down.
Yeah, and they use him a lot in that motion to make him the check down guy, and that's a good thing to have somebody who you can be explosive in the check down. When you look at the NFL and a lot of the college teams today, they have that dynamic running back that they use in those passing situations. Well, they bring a guy who plays quarterback and receiver into that position.
Eagles scramble to get set defensively, and South Carolina State, they're going to go to the check down, so the Eagles will catch a break, but almost caught unaware there. 3rd and 9. Shotgun set. Again, they'll motion Nick into the backfield. But Fields takes the snap. Pressure's coming in. Unloads before the hit. And he leaves that one too far ahead of the wide receiver on the near side, looking for Tyrese Nick out of the backfield. Now 4th down.
Yeah, they were caught in a mismatch, and very fortunate they were able to get some pressure, or that could have gotten ugly. That time they were in cover 0, as that looked like they were showing cover 2, but the motion gave it away as the safety had to roll up, so they recognized they had man-to-man coverage, and the quarterback tried to make the wheel route throw and just didn't have enough time.
Cliff Benjamin back to punt. He has 1 touchback already today. Got that ball into the air, and the wind did all the rest of the work. Brandon Cotterington waiting to return, wearing the black shirt for North Carolina Central, but a flag thrown right at the snap.
Man, he hit that one too. My goodness.
Yeah. False start.
Flag on the field.
That ball resting inside the 5.
So false start, and ball all the way downfield. Bounce down to the 1-yard line. Cliff Benjamin, strong leg, and the wind doing all the rest of the work as well. But I'll tell you what, Cliff Benjamin, all he has to do is get that one up there. He's doing a lot of momentum. He'll try this one more time. Away it goes, and a skyrocket all the way back to the 34. And here is Cotterington. Cotterington still on his feet, weaves to the near side, trying to find an alleyway, and he'll skip out of bounds at about the 42. So Brandon Cotterington, patient in the backfield, did the work to swim out of the first tackle, and he's going to gain enough yardage to put the Eagles into Bulldog territory to start their next drive. 7-0 South Carolina State leads. This is this is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here at O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. As North Carolina Central is trying to tie this game up, Brandon Cotterington with the return to put the Eagles into scoring range, but that pass batted at the line and intercepted by South Carolina State's defensive line.
What a play on the edge that time by the defensive end. I didn't get a number on the play, but he did a good job of batting it down, and the outside linebacker came in and was very fortunate on the play. Here you see the fake on the sweep, and the quarterback rears back and throws it. The ball's deflected in the air by number 26, and the interception is gathered in by the defensive end, number 98 on the play, Bruce Johnson. And Bruce Johnson shows a little athleticism as the quarterback brings him down, but what a break for the Gamecocks.
Jaden Brunson, he's going to get credit for the pass deflection, and the interception goes to the big man. Always something that you treasure First and 10 for South Carolina State from the 45 in Eagle territory. Corey Fields sacked. The ball is loose. And a white shirt on top of it first. It looks like that should be 73, Alex Taylor. The right tackle from Monk's Corner, South Carolina.
Yeah, the Bulldogs catch another break that time. The quarterback did a good job of trying to buy time down the field and a good job on the outside as the Eagles get pressure. And you think it's going to be one where you turn it over and you get it right back, but they're fortunate as the offensive lineman jumps in and jumps on the football.
So second and a long way to go for South Carolina State. Back on their own side of the field as Corey Fields and the rest of the offensive unit looks to their left, to their sideline. I guess the new play call. Fields looking deep down the far sideline, and that one too far ahead of the intended receiver, Shaquan Davis. Now third down.
Excellent job that time on the outside as the defensive back put him on his back and pinned him into a certain area. It had to be a box throw, and that's a tough throw for any quarterback to make in that situation.
And now third and long for South Carolina State. It's 3rd and 18 officially. And Corey Fields, he's been asked to do a lot today. He was not the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. Tyrese Nick, his stats so far this year, thrown for 805 yards and 7 touchdowns. They turned it over to the redshirt freshman from Hollywood, South Carolina. So far in this game, he's 2 for 8, 26 yards and 1 touchdown. It's just been a tough passing day for both teams as Fields stays in the pocket. One-handed snag nearly by DeMontrez Burrows. Incomplete, broken up there by Brandon Codrington. And now 4th down.
Yeah, nice job that time as he was running the drag delay route. We call it the tag route when you take it up high, and a quarterback put it out in an area where he had a chance to get it. A little bit lower pass, and it would have been a great play, but he almost made a spectacular catch.
So the Eagles catch a break. The man who breaks up the pass goes back to return the punt. And Brandon Codrington, using his knowledge from the last few punts from Cliff Benjamin, is going to back up just a little bit further. Benjamin stands at his own 33, steps forward, lets it fly from the 35, and this one will be fair caught at the 15-yard line. So with 23 seconds left to go in this first quarter, North Carolina Central still trying to find their key to tie this game up.
Well, they did a good job that time of stopping momentum after the big play by the Bulldogs. You'd have thought that the Eagles would have probably conceded more yardage, but the defense came out, hung tight, and got the offense another opportunity. You got to expect that the Eagles are probably going to run it on first down and try to get this win at their back for the rest of the drive so that they can get some momentum going in the passing game.
At the half, Morgan State leads Virginia University of Lynchburg 36-12. Delaware State trying to complete the win streak. They're up 10-0 over Norfolk State right now.
And Del State's finding magic at the right time.
Coach Milstead and those Hornets, a tough team as the Eagles will go on the ground, and that more than likely will be the last play of the quarter as Isaiah Totten crawls his way over the pile for about 2. North Carolina Central and South Carolina State in a tight battle here. The wind and the cold playing a factor. Bulldogs lead this game 7-0 after the first 15 minutes of play. Second quarter comes your way next. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
South Carolina State up by 7.
MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here at Old Kelly Riddick Stadium. Score South Carolina State 7, North Carolina Central 0. Eagles with the football as they motion into a pistol set and now back into the shotgun. And a little miscommunication there as Davius Richard will hold on to it and he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but not much more. Now 3rd down. The difference so far in this game, South Carolina State into the end zone after the pass completed from Corey Fields to DeMontrez Burrows.
Yes. The Eagles are going to have to do a better job now, of getting some offensive execution. The defense has settled in and done a pretty good job of stopping the Bulldogs the last couple of possessions. That time we had a little bit of miscommunication, but offensively we've got to pick it up a little bit, and maybe with the wind at our back we can.
3rd and 7. Looking upfield, that one entered incomplete, nearly intercepted. The defensive back had 2 chances at it. That one falls harmlessly to the ground. Jumping in front of that one, Zafir Kelly for South Carolina State.
Yeah, Kelly read that one better than the receiver did. He broke on that one as soon as he got a chance. The quarterback's arm cocked, and he'd already started on his break.
So South Carolina State back to return. It'll be Burrows. And to punt will be Picaro. South Carolina State getting their last man out there at the last second. Picaro punting with the aid of the wind, and that one's going to carry over his head, bouncing inside the 15, and that one into the gunner. He tried to get out of the way of it, but down at the 12-yard line. But John Picaro with the punt for the ages.
Somebody went down on that play.
Picaro's punt.
I didn't get a number, but it just went down.
Yeah, there is an injured Eagle on the field, helped up now into a sitting position.
Media timeout.
And that'll be a media timeout. 7-0 is the score. South Carolina State leading in the second quarter. This is Eagle football. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3 as we are back underway. South Carolina State on the carry, straight up the field, and one in the hands of LeBron Morris. South Carolina State starting from their own 14-yard line after a 70-yard punt from John Picaro.
Yeah, he got all of that one as the ball's in the air, turning over and bouncing. He may have gotten a little bit more out of it, but the gunner was trying to get in position, and the ball kicked back at him a little bit. But it was probably about to start to go backwards anyway on that bounce anyway.
And another handoff here from Morris. He spins out of the first hit, shrugs off another just like a pinball. And he falls down at the 38-yard line. LeBron Morris, all he does is big carries.
Yeah, he's just taking big run after big run. And if his balance was just a little bit better, he probably would have a few more yards. But he's just getting downhill and running hard.
Morris again, this time 2 Eagles there to corral them, but he'll still get across the line of scrimmage for about a couple. Second down. LeBron Morris up to about 45 yards on the ground right now. His longest carry has gone for 20 yards. 6 carries for 60 yards, averaging 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, they've got him listed at 5'10", 185. He looks every bit of 195, 200. But he runs hard. I like how he gets downhill with the football.
An easy day for him so far. They're going to go to the backup tailback, Omar Cummings, redshirt sophomore from Beaufort, South Carolina. And they'll hand it off to him. No, the quarterback's going to keep it, Corey Fields, and he'll be lassoed down by Darius Royster.
Yeah, nice job by Royster on the play that time of squeezing and as he's supposed to, being the contained guy on the outside. He wasn't fooled by the fake, and when the quarterback tried to make a move, he just closed the gap.
It's a 3rd and 8 for South Carolina State. They lead 7-0. Bulldogs trying to keep their own fates in their hands and pick up another conference championship to a very storied program, holding the most conference championships in the MEAC, 13 plus. Just been a very consistent program down there in Orangeburg, South Carolina. This pass floated to the near side, incomplete, intended for Shaquan Davis. Broken up there on the near side by Justin Nicholson.
Nicholson did a good job that time on the play of staying with the receiver. The quarterback threw the ball up in the air, but because of the wind, the ball hangs in the air a little longer than they'd like. And they both did a good job of going up and trying to catch it at the highest point, but an excellent job that time by the defense.
And on the sideline, I just saw Shaquan Davis spike his helmet in frustration.
Back to kick for South Carolina State.
Definitely feeling like he might have been impeded, just either that or just felt like he should have made the catch, or just frustrated with going 3 and out on this drive. And another punt all the way. This one a little bit shorter, and the Eagles will wait. This one will bound along to about the 24-yard line. So North Carolina Central will take over there, and they'll start their next drive, still trying to tie this game up. The 2019 MEAC Volleyball Championship is next weekend, November 22nd to the 24th, in Howard University's Burr Gymnasium. Howard is the 4-time defending champion, and the Bison and North Carolina A&T State are the class of the MEAC so far this season. Sunday's championship match will be broadcast live on ESPNU at 8 p.m. Eastern. Burr Gymnasium, one of the most storied venues within the MEAC as far as basketball goes, even volleyball as well. As the Eagles start this drive with a handoff. Short gain there for the tailback, Jordan Freeman. The Burr Gymnasium is a tough place to play every time you go up there.
Yeah, very tough place to play. And you got to figure that you got to bring your A game in almost every venue you play in this year. It's going to be a fun basketball season this year.
Eccles Hall, the home of Norfolk State, tough place to play. McDougald-McLennan Arena. Smith Hammond Middleton Memorial Gymnasium, where South Carolina State plays, has been a house of terror over the years as they have picked up their championships. Richard pass caught on a dime right there at the 42-yard line. Ryan McDaniel with sticky hands.
Those types of throws are what gives me the most hope about this young man as you watch him deliver that ball. That dig route is a hard route to throw, and anticipating the receiver out of the break, and he hit him in stride perfectly, and an excellent job by the receiver on the catch.
So North Carolina Central picks up the long first down connection. Davius Richard to Ryan McDaniel, his first catch today. The Eagles set up at the 43-yard line. Richards going to try it again. Pass to the near side, caught by Freeman. And Freeman rid to the turf right there by the South Carolina State linebacker, number 15, B.J. Davis.
Yeah, he's got to make up his mind and go. That's a 1-yard gain on a route that should have gotten him about 4 or 5 yards.
B.J. Davis from Blair, South Carolina. His backup, Chris Simmons, went to Orangeburg Wilkinson High School. Cornelius Walker in the middle, also a graduate of OW. Both of them Bruins, and getting to play together at the school that's basically right down the road from OW in Orangeburg. 2nd and 8, pass to the near side, picked off. And what a fantastic grab for Jacoby Durant, and the Bulldogs with their second takeaway in this game.
A nice job and break on the ball that time. A bad throw by Richardson, bad decision even on the throw. But if you're going to make that throw, you've got to throw it outside, and he threw it, and the defensive back did a good job of anticipating. And as soon as the receiver came out of the break, he was already on his break trying to close it out.
And Jacoby Durant's going to pick up his 3rd interception of the year. It's a productive season for a cornerback.
Well, that's a great job of breaking on the ball. You watch guys in the NFL who don't anticipate like that. He jumped that route. He knew what route it was as soon as he saw the receiver about to come out of the break, and he was already underneath it. An excellent job of getting leverage and breaking on the football.
Bulldogs set up at the 48-yard line in their own territory. They'll turn, hand it off to LeBron Morris. Morris follows his blockers and gets about 3. 2nd down. South Carolina State, so far in this game, they haven't had much issues. Started their drives at their the 20-yard line of North Carolina Central, their own 40, their own 13 once. Actually, their own 13 twice. The flag is thrown, but other than that, They started at North Carolina Central's 45 and at their own 48-yard line. So they've been starting really close to midfield this entire game.
Yeah, they have. They've had excellent field position. The defense has done a really good job of containing them in spite of the condition, the field position. And the only score they got was when they got the ball almost inside the red zone and was able to capitalize after the no call on the fumble, the reverse call on the fumble.
Rory Bernard, his belt pack not working kindly for him right now. He signals for a full start and moves South Carolina State back 5 yards. It's still second down. And they'll exchange personnel. Out goes the tight end. In comes the secondary quarterback, Tyrese Nick. 2nd and 12. Ball spotted at the 46. Bulldogs in the white shirts and the garnet pants and the white helmets, and now they'll shift the formation and bring the quarterback into the backfield. Nick will hand it off. He'll try to turn the corner, looking for a blocker. Shrugs a couple, still on his feet. He's got to go up the seam, up the middle, up to about the 43-yard line. And Tyrese Nick showing his explosiveness in the backfield.
He is, and that's a setup play right there. There's got to be a pass coming off that because he went real flat, like he setting something up to open up on that side. So don't be surprised to see another play stem off of that play later on in the game.
3rd and short for South Carolina State. They're in Eagle territory once again. They started pretty strongly on 3rd down. They converted their first, and then they were 1 for 2, and now they're 1 for 5 on 3rd down. Trying to change the trend. It looks like they're going to pick up their second one right there. Another handoff on LeBron Morris. And I think that'll lead the Sticks forward.
Yeah, good job that time by the offensive line of opening up a small enough crease for him to get in. He didn't dance around and look for the big play. He just got the first down and got them another fresh set of downs.
It's the ball at the 41 now. South Carolina State in this offset pistol. Corey Fields now will shift the formation again. He'll have the tailback Morris now on his left. Turns, gives to Morris. Morris right up the middle, picks up his speed, takes on one hit, takes on another, and he might have gotten to the marker.
He did, and he's just looking to run over people because if he has his eyes open, he takes it to the left and walks into the end zone by himself. If you look at the replay right here, he's got nothing outside him, outside the hash mark on the left-hand side. He gets up the field. If he just breaks it to the left now, there's nobody over there, but he turned back inside and was looking for people to run over, and he did a good job of that.
Bulldogs stay in the same formation as Fields turns and gives again to Morris. Morris a jump cut, and he's going to push the pile for another 3 yards or so.
Morris, the ball carrier.
And LeBron Morris is making this look easy.
He is. He's having his way right now, and even when he gets hit, he's not going down easily.
They'll go back to the secondary tailback, Omar Cummings. Datron James actually hasn't been seen yet today. The redshirt junior from North Charleston, South Carolina. He's carried the ball 34 times for 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's been a steady tailback for South Carolina State over the years as they hand this one off to Tyrese Nick. Nick with a quick inside-out move, and now up to the field and get us up to about the 22, but I think a block in the back will be called there.
Yeah, block in the back that time, and still he should have been tackled in the backfield. That's not a good job by the contained man on that play. He's got to squat and send him back inside. You can't let him get outside you if you're contained on that play.
And it is a block in the back called against South Carolina State. And it will remain second down. So the Bulldogs get hampered by the penalty once again.
Yeah, here you have the play. He's on the jet sweep, getting outside. And right now you've got contained. And the push kind of hurt the situation, but you can't allow him to get that wide and get that flat that fast when you're running the jet sweep, or you're going to be in trouble all afternoon.
2nd and 16. 6 minutes to go in our first half of play. Stay tuned for our halftime show presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. South Carolina State back to about the 37. 4 options for Corey Fields, but he'll take the one in the backfield as it goes to Cummings, and Cummings is rolled up. Chuck Manning in there for the hit. Joined there in the backfield by Jerome Foster.
Yeah, that was one where you question why they ran that play. If you were going to run the ball, it should have been to the other side where you had more numbers That time they were outnumbered on that side and tried to force the football up that side anyway.
It's a third and a long way to go for South Carolina State. Corey Fields walks the line and will exchange the signals from the sideline. And he goes to the hard count. South Carolina State looking to defend as North Carolina Central looks ready to bring some heavy pressure here. And Fields looks to his right, and they're going to change this over one more time. Just 5 seconds to snap the ball. Fields takes a snap, and everybody's coming from North Carolina Central. Fields over the middle, pass broken up at the 12-yard line, nearly intercepted for Justin Nicholson, but now 4th down.
Got to catch that. You get an opportunity for an interception, you got to pull it in, and the receiver collided with the safety after the catch. The interception was not made. Good job here. You see him stepping back in the pocket, throwing the post route, and that hit inside could have been called. It could have been a targeting call had the official been paying attention to it, but a good job of breaking on the football on the outside.
Yeah, Shaquan Davis down, and we'll take a break as he is tended to by the athletic training staff. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here as South Carolina State are ready to punt. This one a little more controlled. It'll bounce down inside the 10. Bulldogs will spot it at the 9-yard line, and that's where North Carolina Central will take over. Shaquan Davis shaken up after the last play. Another look here. Went for the catch. Lanny Smith comes in, finishes the play just in case he was going to get there. Pass was broken up, but that's one of those situations where it's razor thin with it being batted and the hit being applied.
Yeah, he did a good job, though, of turning and using his shoulder, though. He didn't use his head, so they weren't in a targeting situation that time. The receiver was just left vulnerable because of the ball being thrown, but that was a situation where the ball probably slowed down a lot as the quarterback was throwing into the wind.
So the Eagles take over, trailing 7-0 here at O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. It's the Eagles' senior day. This pass is on the screen. First hit applied, and Deshaun Stevens able to shrug him off, but steps forward for about 2 yards.
Yeah, looking for a big play right now. Offensively, we need something to kind of get a spark going. The offense has been a little bit stagnant. They haven't been able to put together any drives or sustain any drives. So right now they're looking for anything to get them a big play on offense.
Stand corrected. No gain given on the play. It's now 2nd down. An update from around the league. North Carolina A&T 26, Bethune-Cookman 10. 4.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Davius Richard pump fakes, goes on the double move near side and just misses Deshaun Stevens. A great double move, a great route run, just missed on the connection.
Yeah, that's a case where the wind might have helped it go a little bit further than he probably would have liked to have thrown it, but he had to step in. He couldn't step into it like he wanted to because of the pressure on the outside. As you see him step up, he lets it go, and that's one I know he wishes he had again.
The wind again wreaking havoc, picking up. Now 3rd down for North Carolina Central, and it really seems that it doesn't matter which way you're going. You can have the wind at your back, you can have the wind in your face, but either way, it's going to take control of the football once it leaves your hand. 3rd and 10. Richard on his own goal line, passes over the middle, incomplete, looking for McDaniel. Try to spear it with one hand, but it's incomplete. 4th down.
Yeah, that's a situation where a better ball is needed, but the receiver's got to figure out a way to get a little bit more separation, to open that window up just a little bit more.
4th down, North Carolina Central will punt. The last time John Picaro went out there, he sent off a 70-yard punt. Both of these punters have been doing some strong work, especially with the wind behind them. Bredson averaging 58.5 yards per punt. Excuse me, this punt is just high to the air. It'll bounce forward. And he's going to try to return it. Didn't get his hands on it cleanly the first time. And he's able to slip out of the first tackle and get out of bounds at about the 40-yard line.
It looks like he stepped out on about the 37 when he went back. Yeah, the official has him at the 37.
Robinson on the return.
Great return there. He almost didn't quite have anything going for him. as we'll head our way into a media timeout. 7-0, South Carolina State leads. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. It's the Bulldogs with the football. They turn and hand this one off to LeBron Morris again. And he's just dodging tackles left and right. It's like they're not even there. He carries that one for about 7 more yards.
Yeah, this kid has a really good low center of gravity and does a good job of breaking tackles. He doesn't go down on first contact.
2nd and 2. We were talking about punting. Cliff Benjamin, 5 punts today. His long has gone for 48. John Picaro, his longest for 70. Both of these guys averaging over 35 yards a punt so far in this game. As they go again, a heavy collision. Heard that one all the way up here. LeBron Morris up the field, and that's enough for a first down.
Yeah, you don't get a whole lot of wiggle out of him, but he does get downhill and runs hard.
So the Bulldogs keep pressing forward, trying to get one more score with 3 minutes and just a little bit more left here in this first half of play. Stay tuned for our halftime show presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield at the intermission. They'll shift the formation. They've been doing that a lot, moving the tight end and tailback from side to side. And another handoff from Morris. South Carolina State saying, well, it's working. We're not going to stop.
Well, it's they figured out it's pretty hard to throw going into this win, so they're going to exercise the right to run this football downhill. And as long as he's getting as many yards as he's getting per clip, they're going to continue to feed it.
So now 2nd down and 8. Ball right at midfield. South Carolina State outgaining North Carolina Central right now, 124-78. And movement there. Jerome Foster looked like he goes a little bit too far.
Offside. Unabated to the quarterback. Eaton, number 44. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And Coach Trey Oliver, he enjoys, well, I don't want to say he enjoys, but he calls those self-inflicted negatives, and that shortens into an acronym that spells out sins, things that you definitely do not want to commit. They don't hurt. They don't help anybody on your team when you do those. South Carolina State with 5 more yards. 2nd and short. They go back on the ground. Morris with a jump cut down, close to the line. The linesman leaning, asking, and it will be a first down for South Carolina State.
Yeah, nice job that time on the jump cut. They're running a man in motion and using it as a trap block instead of trying to move the guard and the tackle, which I think is a great idea to use your tight end more like that. As many teams as they're running the spread, you'd think you'd see more of it. But right now, they're doing a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage and controlling this clock and just trying to get something positive out of this possession going into the win.
They'll motion Nick. They'll hand it off. No, there'll be a keeper for Fields. Fields is able to spin, keep his momentum going up to the 35.
That time they faked the jet sweep, and the quarterback ran up inside and looking for those linebackers to run out, and if the offensive line can open up a big enough crease, it'll get you about 5 to 10 yards, and that time he was able to get about 6 or 7 on the carry.
And Corey Fields working in tandem with Tyrese Nick as they go on the read, and Fields carries it forward. Now Fields in the pocket to pass. Pressure's coming. Pump fakes, throws this one, and that was going to fall incomplete. Black shirts converging on it, but it gets to the ground before anybody can get there. And a little bit of action behind the play as well.
Incomplete. 3rd down.
Another look here at Corey Fields. Pressure's coming in. Just lets it go. And the pass goes incomplete. And the Bulldogs now with 3rd and short.
Well, not being able to step into those types of throws makes it tough in windy situations like this. You could probably wing it like that on a great summer day. But days like today, you got to use those hips and drive. You got to do the Dak. You saw Dak doing it, opening his hips up and out. That'll be on every Zumba class in the country in another week.
South Carolina State will put both quarterbacks back there. Fields will have it. He throws it to the near side, intended for Tyrese Nick, and Now a flag thrown once the play was over in the backfield.
Flags on the
And
field.
tensions have been heating up between both offensive lines, or both offensive and defensive lines, and I think it's spilled over now, and South Carolina State is going to benefit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a roughing the passer call right here, but they didn't slam him to the ground, and wasn't really anything done to it. So I'm wondering, is this a situation that warrants a penalty?
Ready for the call. So hands to the face is the call. It goes against the defensive tackle, Khalid Blunt. South Carolina State will get some extra yards.
Now, that's a call that I can agree with. I didn't think there was a roughing the passer on the play, but he definitely did get some hands into the face. So a good job that time of recognizing him by the referee, who was waiting for him to kind of move his hand a little bit, and he never did.
They'll keep both quarterbacks in the backfield again. Nick will get the handoff, counters, comes back the other way. He gets one block. He might get into the end zone, shakes outside, and finally brought down at about the 4. And Tyrese Nick, a little bit frustrated, thinking that he should have been in for 6.
Yeah, he should have. If he would have ran instead of shuffling his feet, he would have probably scored pretty easily. But he was able to get run down by pursuit because he shuffled his feet a little bit, trying to make trying to turn a routine play into an even bigger play.
Under a minute to go, 1st and goal for South Carolina State. LeBron Morris in the backfield behind the quarterback, Corey Fields, and a timeout will be taken.
Timeout, North Carolina City. First yard timeout. 30 seconds.
And the Eagles will take a 30-second timeout here. The MEAC is proud to announce its Hall of Fame class of 2020. Legendary Bethune-Cookman football and women's basketball coach Alvin Wyatt Sr., Florida A&M standout quarterback Quinn Gray, Maryland Eastern Shore volleyball star Jana Millen, and quarterback Connell Maynard, and defensive end Christopher McNeil from North Carolina A&T State. The class of 2020 will be inducted in Norfolk, Virginia on Thursday, March 12th as part of the festivities surrounding the 2020 MEAC basketball tournament. Quinn Gray, he's been in the headlines over the last few weeks this season just because of Ryan Stanley down at Florida A&M breaking his records over his career.
Wow.
So Ryan Stanley with a strong year for Florida A&M as they're trying to go undefeated. Another look here at what's been the difference between these two teams. DeMontrez Burrows with that catch getting into the end zone. Shorter field for South Carolina State is 1st and goal. And Burrows not on the field here. They've gone to both of the tight ends. Morris in the backfield. They'll give it to him. Morris through the waves, and he's across the plane. Touchdown, South Carolina State, confirmed by the officials. It's now a 2-score lead for the Bulldogs.
Using that momentum and the strong leg drive and able to carry the Eagle defenders into the end zone with the second effort.
So SC State now up 13-0 with the extra point pending. 35 seconds remaining here in the first half. So South Carolina State really taking it to North Carolina Central right now. They're outgaining the Eagles by double, 154-78. The extra point is good. So South Carolina State up now 14-0 with 35 seconds remaining in the first half of play. Let's take a look at that last drive. Closer look. 9 plays, 63 yards, and this scoring play right there. 3 yards out from LeBron Morris. 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Drive stat brought to you by North Carolina Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat. Visit them online at nceent.com. Well, a touchdown through the air and a touchdown on the ground for South Carolina State in this first half.
Yeah, now what you do is going to be depending upon field position after the return of this kick, and the Eagles look like they're sending their normal returners out, so they're going to try to get a good return on this. But a big return would be nice now as the Eagles are down by 14. It's not a situation that is ideal for a team that has struggled offensively as much as they have today.
Well, the Eagles will be helped out by the wind. It will be blowing into the face of the kicker, Dylan Bredson. He goes forward and sends it away. Wind or not, he gets a hold of that one to the 15-yard line. Codrington looking for a seam, goes right up the middle and finally brought down to the 35-yard line. Codrington made up his mind. He knew where he wanted to go.
Yeah, he had a really good initial move and a good first cut. The second cut was a little bit suspect. He has to be able to make that cut on the run and not slow down to make it. If he figures that out, he's going to break a whole lot of big runs in his future.
Codrington has one kick return this season and nearly a walk-off kick return for a touchdown against Delaware State with just 30 seconds left in the ball game. 28 seconds left in the half here. Eagles with the football. Davius Richard slings this one to the near side, caught by Campbell, and Campbell surrounded by 4 white shirts, and they're not going to let him get out of bounds, and the clock will continue to wind.
Barry Campbell on the reception.
Whistles stopping the play. I think they're going to make sure that they got everybody separated. And the Eagles are going to take their second time out of the half here. 17 seconds to go. An update on the MEAC scoreboard. North Carolina A&T still holding on. They're up 33-10 as they start the fourth quarter. And here's a look at what led to that first drive and first touchdown from South Carolina State, that blocked punt. And Davius Richard looking upfield and had that one picked off rather.
No, that was the big play on the post route, corner route to Stevenson. And here you see the rollout and the nice touch on the throw where they scored their first touchdown.
It's been a strong half so far, and Demontrez Burrows getting to celebrate there as his team is now up by 2 scores. A strong catch there on the near side by Campbell, who just had that last grab as the Eagles go back out into the field with just 20 seconds remaining in the half. Davius Richard with 5 receivers. And pressure coming in from the Bulldogs. They're not going to let him throw this one, but he somehow does get it off.
That was a strong throw that time by him. He was being pushed down and carried backwards. He was able to find someone to the side. If he'd had time, though, he had an inside receiver that had cover 0, and he was being covered by a linebacker. If he'd have just had a little bit more time, it would have been a touchdown.
And no foul for intentional grounding as Davius Richard able to hold on. Shown to be an incredibly strong quarterback. And South Carolina State, they know a thing or two about strong quarterbacks. Malcolm Long, when he played at South Carolina State, absolutely strong arm, strong base. Saw him complete a few touchdown passes while a defender was draped over him at the goal line as the Eagles go on the ground, and that's going to be the end of the half. 14-0, South Carolina State leads after 30 minutes of play. Halftime show presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina is next. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network. We'll break down the first 30 minutes right after this.
North Carolina Central Football on the NCCU Sports Network.
Spoken for Communications specializes in speech-language pathology and occupational therapy for children of all ages and is a proud sponsor of NCCU Athletics. Spoken for Communications serves clients from Durham County to Bertie County. For more information on Spoken for Communications, call 919-361-1090 or online at www.spoken-for.com. Spoken for Communications, because every child deserves to be heard.
The Sheraton Imperial. MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran joined here by Joe Simmons. And we're here to break down the first half of action. This is our halftime show presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. Our score after 30 minutes of play, South Carolina State 14, North Carolina Central 0. As you take a look at what's gone down in this first half of play. And LeBron Morris, he's been the story. Ran for nearly 100 yards in this first half. 16 carries for 99 yards. And there is Davius Richard dragging the defense with him as well. Richard on the ground, 2 carries for 14 yards. He's thrown 9 completions for 67 yards, but 2 interceptions as well for Davius Richard. But for South Carolina State, they've been all over the field, but here's an opportunity for a great return from Brandon Cotterington. Set the Eagles up and the chance to score, but this South Carolina State defense has really been ruling the day.
Yeah, Cotterington had a lot of bright moments for the Eagles with some defensive plays and some great returns, but offensively the Eagles never found a way to get it going. One of the things they're probably going to have to do is go to a quicker passing game, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands a little bit quicker, and try to create a tempo-style offense, because right now South Carolina State seems to have the answer defensively to everything that we try to do offensively.
And there's a carry from Tyrese Nick that set up the score on the ground from LeBron Morris, right into his hands, right up the middle, ABC, as it is in football.
Yeah, did a really good job of getting downhill on that run. And most of the runs that he had, he did a really good job in the entire first half of just being consistent. I think he finished the half with a pretty good run percentage. I think, what did he end up with rushing-wise?
99 yards on the ground, 6.2 yards per carry. And South Carolina State with 154 yards on offense in North Carolina Central's 85 as they lead this contest 14-0. We'll take a closer look at this first half of play right after this break. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Bulldogs leading 14-0. MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. South Carolina State leading North Carolina Central 14-0 at the midway point here from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. The penultimate week of MEAC play. One more game to go after this. North Carolina Central trying to climb their way to the top, but South Carolina State still tracking down North Carolina A&T. Both of these teams 4-2, both with the lead, and both with a chance to play for a trip to the Celebration Bowl next week.
Exactly. When you look at the situation that everybody's in right now, you can break it down into several different ways of how every single team who's listed in the up to 3-3 records have an opportunity to participate in the championship. And if all it really means is you've got to control your own destiny and just win the games that are in front of you. And right now, South Carolina State looks like they're well on their way, but they're going to need a little bit more help than what they're actually getting right now. And unfortunately for the Eagles right now, we started out really slowly in this first half, but we got to find a way to ignite that spark and get some offense going in the second half.
This is going to be another year for the Celebration Bowl, and for the MEAC has been represented by two teams, North Carolina A&T and North Carolina Central. It's been won by North Carolina A&T 3 times. The only SWAC winner has been Grambling against North Carolina Central. And for the SWAC, they've been represented by Grambling and Alcorn State. This has been 2 schools. It's been an exclusive party in Atlanta.
It has really been an exclusive party, and the way things are trending, it looks like, it's probably going to be a North Carolina representative in it again this year. I was hoping that it would be us, and if we got to find a way to get there and redeem ourselves from our one attempt and loss in the Celebration Bowl.
Hey, even if North Carolina Central's not there, you can still get tickets. Visit thecelebrationbowl.com to go visit the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the Celebration Bowl here in December of 2019, December 21st. We'll have the conclusion of this game coming up soon. Second half, 30 minutes to play between North Carolina Central and South Carolina State. Bulldogs lead 14-0. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
So let's get after it. What would you like the power to do?
On the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Halftime presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina here in Durham, North Carolina. South Carolina State leads 14-0 at the break. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here. South Carolina State, they've been in control of this game. They're up 14-0, and they've done it on the ground. 128 yards on the ground on 23 rushing attempts, and LeBron Morris, 16 carries for 99 yards. And it all started here in the first quarter on the blocked punt that set up that first touchdown that went to DeMontrez Burrows.
Yeah, we had a little bit of trouble with not enough men on the field, hustle a man out on the field late. They had to hurry to snap, and the Eagles were not fortunate enough to get off a good punt, had it blocked, and then South Carolina State came out, and you see the quick strike for the touchdown after the fumble was overturned by the officials on the replay, and South Carolina State marches into the end zone for the early lead.
And they keep the ball on the ground. Here's LeBron Morris right up a big gap up the middle.
Yeah, he's showing a good job of running the football. Not a great open field runner, but he's really good between the tackles, and he does a good job of getting downhill and running people over. Here's the situation where you see the Eagles come out and the passing game, getting things started. Then after a change of possession, we come out and then we get the quick turnover. South Carolina State comes out and gets the interception, and then they come back, and when we get the ball back out to stopping them, they come back and get another interception, and where defense does a good job again of containing them. Then they go to a change of pace and put the backup quarterback in the backfield and hand it off to him a couple times. And that time he had a big run on the play, getting down to the goal line, and then LeBron doing what he's been doing all day, showing that grown man strength around the goal line and working his way into the end zone. 2
interceptions for the South Carolina State defense today. One from the DBs, one from the D-line, and they lead this contest 14-0 at the intermission. They're going to try to close it out and keep their title hopes alive. A ticket to the Celebration Bowl, not guaranteed today, but getting in line for it. The game, that is the goal. 14-0, South Carolina State leads. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
What would you like the power to do?
MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network. Jonathan Duran alongside Joe Simmons. MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. The penultimate game of MEAC play and the final home game for North Carolina Central. As the Eagles trying to keep their title hopes alive, South Carolina State trying to do the same thing. Either way, one of these teams is going to be leaving with a chance to play for the title next week.
Yeah, both teams have a lot to play for right now, and right now it looks like South Carolina State's found a few more explosive plays, and the explosive plays that they have led them to an opportunity to get 2 scores, and the Eagles haven't really done much offensively, but defensively I think they've done enough to put themselves in a situation to be in a better situation than they actually are. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Eagles figure out in the second half how to contain this offense and pick it up offensively themselves.
14-0 is the score. North Carolina Central, over the course of the year, they've been an anomaly. They've outgained their opponents but have come up on the wrong end. And right now they are being outgained and being beat on the scoreboard as well. And to add on to that, well, I did have one more thing to add on to that, but I guess there's another one. There's a delay of game penalty called against the band.
Yeah, the band took too long to get off the field, but the other team declined it because they've probably been in that situation a million times themselves. That's one of the ones where it's just kind of an honor code amongst coaches to say, hey, we'll decline it.
It's the MEAC, baby.
Yeah, people pay to see the band too, so they want to get all their time in.
Eagles will kick off. It'll be Olivo. Back to return to be South Carolina State. But what I was going to add was the Bulldogs, not only do they have the lead, they get the ball first in the second half.
Yeah, and they got the win at their side too, so the Eagles defense is going to have to pick up and find a way to make something big happen. We need a turnover or something that gets us some good field position in a short field.
So Adrian Oliva with a long run-up sends it away, and we are ready to go here for the third quarter. A flag thrown in the backfield after the kick. And it'll be down at about the 32-yard line. Now I count 3 flags on the field, 4 flags.
They've got too many men on the field, first of
Flag
all.
on the field.
I count 12. Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Our head referee today, Rory Bernard. He'll meet with the rest of his crew. And I'll make sure they get this call correct. Because as soon as that ball was kicked, the flag was thrown. So yeah, I'm with you.
I had too many. I had 12 people, and one of the guys knew he wasn't supposed to be on the field. He was easing off.
So ready for the call?
Well, I wouldn't kick it again. Not in a win.
Definitely not.
I'd go ahead and back them up from where they are.
Definitely not. I think the official ready now. Check in now. Here we go.
Equipment violation. South Carolina State. 2 players wearing number 23. That penalty declined. Holding. Return team. Number 22. 10-yard penalty from the foul. First down.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to North Carolina Central's head SID, Kyle Serba. This happened earlier in the year, again at Morgan State between North Carolina Central and the Bears. And he said, well, hopefully this is going to prevent this from happening ever again, because you try to stat a game when you got to worry about two players running the same number.
It's tough, man. I don't understand. Like I said, the logic is I understand, like, wanting to give a piece to a player, but when you have a roster that doesn't have over 100 people on it, you shouldn't have that problem.
That's the second time that South Carolina State's been called for an equipment violation, as the carry will go to LeBron Morris again. And South Carolina State, they went into the locker room. They said, okay, what's working? Giving the ball to LeBron Morris. Okay, we're going to keep doing that.
Yeah, the Eagles probably feel like it's 5 LeBron Morrises out there, too, because the way he's been running, he shows up at the line of scrimmage, and then you look up, and he's into the secondary.
Carries that one for 5. Again, Morris averaging 6.1 yards per carry. He's already over 100 yards on his first carry in the third quarter. He gets the ball again, shakes forward, gets maybe 2. LeBron Morris hasn't lost a single yard in this game as well.
Yeah, like I said, he's a good job. He's a good downhill runner. He does a good job of keeping his shoulder square to the line of scrimmage. He's got a nice center of gravity, so every time he gets hit, he falls forward.
3rd and short for the Bulldogs. Morris in the backfield. More than likely is going to get another handoff here. But South Carolina State will pivot and look to the sideline. And a coaching matchup today between two Olivers, if you will. As Corey Fields changes the play around, he'll shift the line. 7 seconds to snap it. Fields in his hands. Quick pass, incomplete. And a good break up there from North Carolina Central. Manny Smith breaks it up. It's now 4th down.
Yeah, good job. He even had a bad break on his ankle, but the ball was thrown so poorly it didn't really matter.
So South Carolina State will punt. But again, the coaching matchup today between two Olivers. Oliver Buddy Pugh for South Carolina State, who has left one fantastic legacy. He is the winningest coach all time at South Carolina State, and that takes some doing when you have to go behind Willie Jeffries. 131 career wins for Buddy Pugh.
Willie Jeffries is the ultimate legend, and he's come in and topped that.
And a legendary punt sent off by Cliff Benjamin, brought in by Cotterington inside the 10-yard line, and he's going to be brought down at the 8.
Well, he did a good job of saving us a little yardage, and then he ran backwards and gave it right back to him.
So we'll flip it over, and now Coach Trey Oliver's unit will head out to the field. Coach Oliver coaching his first year at North Carolina Central, his first year at his alma mater, and he definitely would be able to look back at it and say it could have gone a little bit better, but a solid first year so far.
When you put things into perspective, what they've done this year is pretty phenomenal. But at the same rate, expectations are always so high around here that it's going to leave people wanting a little bit more.
Shotgun set for Davius Richard. Has a tailback on his left. Movement on the line. It looks like a false start against North Carolina Central, and that was a problem that they've been having a lot this season. They had allayed it over the last few games, but now it's come back.
Well, it's one of those situations where you've got so much youth up front that, you know, it shows up at the wrong time in games quite too often.
So same formation. Handoff for the tailback, Totten. Totten with a great jump cut. Goes through the seam. Brought down to the 10-yard line. Back to about the original line of scrimmage. But a great carry there from Totten.
Yeah, Totten's been getting a nice dose this year. He's gotten a lot of carries, more than I remember him getting in previous years. But for some reason, he hasn't been able to pop it like he used to be able to pop it all the time.
2nd and 10 after the carry. That one for about 5 yards. They go back to Totten, but it'll be kept by Richard. Richard up the field. Moves up to about the 19. But Davius Richard, he read that one perfectly, and he's going to get the first down.
Yeah, he's a big, strong guy. He's the big back that we're looking for in those short yardage situations. It might necessarily be him because he doesn't go down easily in first contact.
So 1st and 10 for North Carolina Central at the 21. They get everybody set, and they go into the pistol. Claps his hands, waits on the next snap. Another handoff for the tailback, Totten. Totten lost his footing.
The ball carrier.
And he'll fall down behind the play. It'll be 2nd down. A cool day here in the Bull City. fans, young and old, all bundled up here, enjoying this final day of Eagle football inside O'Kelly Riddick Stadium.
Yeah, that young man's happy. He doesn't care that it's 2 degrees outside. He's outside enjoying it. He's watching football live, and I feel you, young man. I feel you.
2nd down and 10 to go. Shotgun set. 4 receivers to choose from for Davius Richard. Another handoff for Totten. Totten sprints up the middle, brought down at the 30.
Yeah, that's what we're used to seeing from him, opportunities. And with this young offensive line, he hasn't had a whole lot of those this year. But when he does get them, we know he's explosive. He can play with and run with anybody in the country.
The Eagles set quickly. They go on the play action. This one batted down. An athletic play there by the linebacker flashing in B.J. Davis. He's listed at 6'2" on the roster. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't think so either. I'm looking at a lot of these heights and weights, and somebody wasn't really bubbling it in the way they needed to that day, or they exaggerated quite a bit.
And B.J. Davis goes up and breaks that one up at the line. That's the 2nd time that we've seen the Bulldogs do that today. The first time it resulted in an interception for the defensive end, Bruce Johnson. Now John Picaro to punt. He's going to punt into the wind. And the punt nearly blocked at the line, but it'll be down at the 50-yard line. The Eagles not getting much done in the punting game. And South Carolina State's got to take over at midfield. 14-0, Bulldogs lead in the 3rd quarter. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN.
As your life grows, so do your needs. And with Bank of America and Merrill, the benefits you get can grow too. As a Preferred Rewards member, you can enjoy priority service and exclusive discounts, so your growing life can be more rewarding too. What would you like the power to do?
MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran here with Joe Simmons, and the snap. I don't know if you can really call that a snap. That one barely got to the quarterback. He jumps on top of it back to the 45-yard line. Not the best start for South Carolina State on this drive.
Yeah, that wind chill must have got to his fingertips because that ball rolled all the way back. Didn't get a good grip on the football, and the quarterback didn't try to force it. He just got down on it.
48 degrees, feels about freezing with the 17-mile-per-hour wind. It's actually been gusting up to about 18 miles per hour during this game. They're talking about cold football games. I remember one of the more frigid football games I attended is all the way back in high school. Coming in from Illinois, I remember watching my high school win a game that started at about 6 o'clock as Corey Fields dashes out of the way, and now he'll dash up the sideline up to about the 40-yard line out of bounds. Corey Fields, a magical move in the backfield, and he picks up the 1st down.
Did what most quarterbacks will do. He raised up and throw it right here and nowhere to go with it. And he said, oh, well, let me pull that back down. The defender goes by him, and then he shows you the wheels. Hash numbers boundary up the sideline and out of bounds, safe on the play.
Up to the 39 in Eagle territory. Fields waits on the next snap. They go back to Morris. Morris able to take the first hit and roll forward for about a couple of yards. But that game, I remember, so cold, my toes froze before the game was over. Ended up in a conference championship. I was okay.
Yeah, man, sometimes you have to make that sacrifice in those situations.
And a conference championship, that's what North Carolina Central is after. All right, and now South Carolina State trying to add on to their legacy. You go to Oliver C. Dawson Stadium, you look at the press box, and you just see year after year marked on there celebrating their successes as Corey Fields rolls to the near side, passes incomplete, and there was a receiver in the area.
Incomplete.
That was number 85 for South Carolina State, or rather 84, Rodriguez Thomas. But really, ball didn't really get close to him.
No, he just let it go deep down the field. Didn't want to take the sack as he was running backwards. Did a good job of getting rid of the football and not taking any contact.
So it's now 3rd down for South Carolina State. And Corey Fields will wait. But there's 2 seconds to snap it. They might not get this off in time. They just barely do. Fields passes down the sideline. There's nobody there as the receiver falls over. It's incomplete.
Fields pass
Tripped up there
incomplete.
was the tight end Tyler Shadowald.
Yeah, that wasn't going to be catchable anyway. He threw that one so far. I don't know any tight end in the country that could have caught that one.
So now 4th down. Back to return will be Cotterington. And the return opportunities for the team that's been on the right side of the field have been few and very slim.
Yeah, shocked they're not going for it in this situation the way the defense has played most of the day.
This one will be checked down and into the end zone. It bounces at the 3-yard line. And it will be into the end zone. And North Carolina Central will take over at the 20 when we come back. 14-0 South Carolina State leads. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN.
What would you like the power to do?
Duran alongside Joe Simmons. We are in the 3rd quarter, 9 minutes to go. South Carolina State leading 14-0. Davius Richard on the keeper, looking for some blocks, and he's going to be up to the 25-yard line. Micah Zanders in, carrying the ball for North Carolina Central.
Nice job by Micah Zander that time, getting to the edge on the dive. It looked like a little dive option, zone read play. That's been there all day if they want to go get it. Plenty of opportunities to make something happen in that situation.
Micah Zanders remaining on the field. Waits on the snap, takes it, and he'll go on the read on the counter, and he's going to be brought down. South Carolina State read their way right through it and easily into the backfield. Paul McKeever, second team preseason All-MEAC selection from Batesburg, South Carolina.
Yeah, that time they overdid it. They needed to go speed option, and they went dive option. But a good opportunity that time on the play. South Carolina State is giving up the outside for the quarterback on the edge, but we've been unable to take advantage of it. And right now the Eagles are in a long 3rd and long situation.
3rd and long. And Davius Richard back in at quarterback. Richard able to get that pass off before the hit. Intended for Pratt, but broken up there by Jacoby Durant. He has an interception in this game already, but now 4th down. And once more, the South Carolina State secondary stymieing North Carolina Central.
Back to kick for the Eagles.
John Picaro to punt.
Robinson back to receive.
And he waits on this one, standing at his own 5-yard line. A small margin for error. Punt is off. It'll bounce forward. Be brought in at the 44, but nowhere to go as the Eagles quickly into the backfield. Looking to see who made that tackle. I think number 51 for North Carolina Central. That's Xavier Lanier, the long snapper.
Yeah, the first man down, got a free release and was able to get down and make a big tackle off the bounce.
So the center, of course, they get that opportunity because of the blocking rules. Snap the ball, just go. And he goes downfield, he gets the hit. So South Carolina State back on the football. They're up 14-0. 7.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. A time running short for North Carolina Central. 48-yard line going in. They'll hand it off to Tyrese Nick. Here's the double pass. Nick hit as he throws that pass. Oh, nearly intercepted. A diving effort. What a great play there by Manny Smith.
I told you you'd see that play come back at the end of in the second half. They ran it in the first half, and he ran it the same flat line, pulled up to throw it early, and unfortunately for the Eagles, they were unable to caress the interception. Here you see him rolling left, throwing it down the field, and a nice job of laying out by the defender, but unable to bring it in.
And there was you can't really call it a double pass.
Yeah, it's a handoff on the jet sweep, looking to throw it deep. And it's one of those situations where you take advantage of the quarterback skill set if he's in the game.
Handoff here for the tailback. Morris, nothing there. Now 3rd down. as North Carolina Central able to clamp down to the run game now.
Yeah, defensively they're picking it up a little bit now. It's going to be up to the offense to mix some things in now and try to make things better. But the main thing now is to get this ball back on after this third down and not allow another first down.
3rd and 10 for South Carolina State. They're at the 48-yard line in Eagle territory. They've had a couple of opportunities to move the ball downfield, but the Eagles standing firm. Snap now for Fields, but before that he'll turn and change the play. Teams abandoning the huddle, and now they'll just go to the line with a play in mind, and they'll check it down. They'll go on the draw for Morris, and Morris is going to benefit. To the sticks, past 2 defenders, up to the 30.
Took advantage of the aggressive nature of the defensive line. That time they didn't stay in their lanes and keep their gap responsibility. And as you see right here on the draw, nice job of delaying, and everyone's reaching instead of running through, and he shows you his power. And that time he does make a few good open field moves, but was tackled in the secondary relatively easily.
A great shoulder fake there at the end as well, man.
And that's that Pop Warner shoulder fake where the shoulder pads are just a little bit too big. And you shake them a little bit, and then you end up getting more yards than they thought you could get.
1st and 10 now for the Bulldogs at the 30. Snap, and they'll go on the screen to the top of the field. It's incomplete. An easy pitch and catch for what should have been for Tyrese Nick. And Tyrese Nick showing why he usually plays quarterback rather than the wide receiver.
Well, he's showing a lot of versatility, and even though he's lost his position as quarterback, they found ways to incorporate him in the game. He's probably having a lot more fun right now. Less responsibility as far as leadership and more responsibility as a playmaker.
And the best news for Tyrese Nick is that he's a junior. He can come back next year. And Corey Fields, a redshirt freshman, swinging the ball around as he gets the snap, hands it off for Morris. Morris, a jump cut, spins through the tackle, and falls forward to about the 26, now 3rd down. Now this is a territory where South Carolina State can kick the field goal with the wind at their back.
Did you see that guy kicking them before the game? I don't think so. I'm just kidding. Now they've gotten themselves in a really good situation to add points on the board. And you're right, with this win, anything's possible. It's blowing pretty hard out there too.
4 receivers in the shotgun, and it'll be both quarterbacks. Corey Fields behind the center. Tyrese Nick on his right side. 3rd and 7. The snap. Fields throws the fade towards the backside. Is incomplete. Broken up there, intended for Rodriguez-Thomas, but Justin Nicholson says no.
Well, a good job of getting separation by the receiver. The ball was a little bit late. If he throws it a little bit earlier and gives him just a little bit more air, he has an opportunity, and now it looks like they're going to try to kick that field goal you were talking about.
So South Carolina State's going to test this one out with the wind at their back. And out to attempt to send it through the uprights will be Cliff Benjamin. Cliff Benjamin out there so far this year on field goal attempts. It'll be Dylan Bredson on the kick. Has the distance, and that one on the line drive, good. Bredson hits his 9th field goal of the year. And now South Carolina State leads 17-0. 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
What would you like the power to do?
MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Dylan Bredson nails the field goal, his 9th of the year. And that last one, a new season long from 44 yards out. South Carolina State now leads 17-0 as Bredson will send it away. Airs this one out all the way back to the goal line. Returnable for Cotterington. Cotterington tripped, tries to stay on his feet, but he is stapled inside the 10-yard line.
Cotterington.
Sometimes you have to understand your situation, and when he was that far out of line for a right return, he probably should have just called fair catch. And now the offense is in another bad situation, starting with their backs up against the wall.
South Carolina State now up 17-0 by way of that 44-yard field goal. That last drive, 7 plays and 21 yards. Closer look at the drive brought to you by North Carolina Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat. Visit them online at nceent.com. The Eagles again stuck inside their own 10-yard line. He'll start on the handoff for Jordan Freeman. Freeman follows his blockers to the top of the field. Gets maybe a couple and some pushing and shoving once the play is done. Now second down. Last week, North Carolina Central got into a bit of a shoving match with Norfolk State. That game actually ended up with a fighting ejection for both sides.
Wow. Pick up a 3. 2nd and 7.
Second down and 7 for North Carolina Central. 3-yard carry from Freeman on first down. And now Davius Richard going for the double move again, but the receiver doesn't release. He tries to air it out, but now third down after the incompletion.
Yeah, offensively right now, it's a hodgepodge of what they're trying to do. One of the things you've seen, though, is the receivers making a lot of double moves because of the aggressive nature of the defensive backs, breaking on balls at the top of the routes. But when they come out of the second move on the double move, they're not getting any separation still, which is hard to believe, which means that something is off a little bit in the timing of the route.
That last one attempted for Tyler Barnes, 3rd and 7. The Eagles will put 3 receivers to the near side. Davius Richard looking upfield. Pressure's coming. He's going to run with it, but South Carolina State's DNs will clamp him down, and they force the Eagles 3 and out, and the Bulldogs with a chance to stretch out the lead now.
Yeah, this is a case of it doesn't matter what you're running if you don't have time to run it. And right now, Richards has done more looking at what's in his face than actually being able to look down the field.
South Carolina State, their defense has been absolutely strong all game long. Take a look at what they've been doing. Tackles for loss so far in this game. They've racked up quite a few. There's just the 1 sack in this game, and it belongs to Darius Royster.
Oh, wow.
The snap and the punt from Picaro. He gets it off in time, and this is going to go out of bounds. I don't think it got up to the 25-yard line. And South Carolina State is going to have another short field to work with.
At the 25-yard line.
And it will mark it at the 25.
1st and 10, South Carolina State.
So the Bulldogs take over leading by 17 with an opportunity to put this game even further out of reach.
Yeah, right now it's getting rough as the defense has been behind the 8 ball all day, and now they're not even giving – the offense isn't even giving them a better field to work with. They're getting them the ball inside the 30 the last couple of possessions.
South Carolina State sends Corey Fields out at quarterback. Tyrese Nick remains on the sideline, and because of that, it's LeBron Morris in the backfield. Play action to him. Fields on the pass, complete right over the middle to the tight end. He is trucked, but he doesn't care. Up to the 10-yard line to Yancey Washington.
Yeah, working the big fellow across the middle. He had man-to-man coverage and was able to get inside. And the Eagles right now look a little bit discombobulated defensively as well.
Yancey Washington, his first catch of the day, just his second catch of the season.
I didn't think he probably had many because he doesn't look like the receiving type, but he's taking advantage of his opportunity now as he's getting it.
Redshirt freshman from North Charleston, South Carolina, Chucktown, as they like to call it, his second catch of the year. And that one goes for 14 yards, a season and career long for the redshirt freshman. They motion him from the right to the left. Snap goes and a handoff for Morris. Morris spins, takes the contact, and he'll be put down at about the 5. 2nd and goal.
Yeah, Morris showing a lot of strength at that time, running the football inside. And you got to look at what this young man has done today. It's been nothing short of phenomenal. Started with a bunch of long runs throughout the day, and now he's showing his physical ability and durability of being able to get 4 and 5 yards a clip on those inside runs.
Stand corrected. 2nd and 4. I saw the first down marker stick leaning back. I thought it was out of use, but 2nd and 4 for South Carolina State. As the Bulldogs take their time, they look to the near side. They almost got caught with a delay of game penalty earlier in this game. They were able to get the snap off. But the Bulldogs definitely not in any hurry with the score up 17-0. Fields the next snap. He'll go with himself up to the read, getting pushed in by all the white shirts. And the rolling ball will be stopped at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I love the fact that they're letting people scrum now. It's giving it that rugby feel when you got the guy in the middle. And it keeps guys, the element of keep moving your legs until you hear the whistle comes back into play with this.
So they mark them down at the 3. It's now 3rd and 1. So the Bulldogs need just one more yard, and they get 4 more tries at the end zone. Again, they'll take their time. What do you think about when you see these teams, North Carolina Central and South Carolina State, that have abandoned the huddle in this modern game of football?
Well, I understand the logic, and it cuts down on the movement of the players and gets. Sometimes I think it hurts communication.
5 seconds to snap it. They go to Morris. Morris up the middle to the goal line. And if he's shy, no, they will give it to him. That's a touchdown. The near side official's going to give him 6, and it's now 23 to nothing. South Carolina State.
Yeah, he's a big physical runner. As you see, he gets the ball inside. First contact happens around the 1, and he's not going to fall backwards. He's always falling forward, and he's able to get the ball across the goal line.
And they reviewed it. They say he's in, so touchdown, South Carolina State. Here comes the extra point. Snap and hold clean. And the kick is through. It is now 24 to nothing Bulldogs as they look poised to make their first trip to Atlanta.
Yeah, they look like they're well on their way right now, and they're pushing the envelope a little bit and putting themselves in position to make something great happen.
Take a look at that last drive for South Carolina State. It goes 4 plays, 25 yards, 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Scoring play, a 2-yard carry by LeBron Morris. Closer look at that drive brought to you by North Carolina Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat. That's NCEENT.com. Another look here, LeBron Morris, jump cut. He just keeps his momentum going forward right into the teeth of the defense, and he gets in for 6.
Yeah, he doesn't hesitate with anything he does, and that's why he's an effective runner. A lot of guys can learn a lot just by watching this tape of him, how every move he makes it moving forward and never changes speed, which is some of the things that makes good runners get great results.
So this result for South Carolina State, if they see it out, is not only going to stratify themselves within the MEAC, and also separate them in the series between the Eagles and the Bulldogs, as believe it or not, the all-time series between these teams gridlocked at 12 apiece. The Eagles had won the last 3. And South Carolina State looks ready to flip the script as Codrington is on the return, shakes past the first, and he's able to get out of the second. Shoestring tackle, lost the handle on the football, but they will say that he was down by contact at the 28-yard line. But a great return by Brandon Codrington, able to stay on his feet after 2 would-be tacklers.
Yeah, I don't know that he didn't fumble that, too. That ball like it might have came out before he went down. They better hurry up and get out there and snap it.
So the Eagles will roll everybody out to the field. 46 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. And they'll talk this over. Well, they do. MEAC Commissioner Dr. Dennis E. Thomas will be inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2020. Joining him in the class of 2020 would be...
There's no foul.
And really on the field, the runner was down, no foul. Joining him will be legendary coach Joe Taylor, Earl Harvey from North Carolina Central, Joe Taylor from Howard, Virginia Union, Hampton, Florida A&M, James Hunter from Grambling State, Robert Mathis from Alabama A&M, and Eric Williams from Central State. The class of 2020 will be honored on February 22nd, 2020 at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. And the previous play does now go under review. And I'll talk this over. The College Football Hall of Fame, a fantastic venue. If you ever get a chance to go there for the Celebration Bowl, they will host that dinner the night before at the College Football Hall of Fame. They give you a nice meal. You get to see all of the exhibits in there, and it's just a fantastic exhibit, especially for the 150th year of college football.
And it's one of the strongest classes that's going in that I can remember in a while. I mean, there's always a great group of legendary people, but these were true college legends, like guys who really did it in college. A lot of times you see guys go in, and it's a lot of the merit of what they did beyond college. These guys were all college legends and did a great job, but one of the things is every single seat that's in there is earned, and you can tell it. It's one of the things it's really great to be a part of and to experience, and the more you look at it, the more you're grateful that there's an opportunity.
So the ruling on the field stands. The Eagles will keep the football at the 30-yard line. 46 seconds remaining here in this third quarter. And the Eagles down by 24. South Carolina State has been in control of this game from start to finish. 1st and 10. Shotgun from the 30. Richard looking upfield. Passes towards the sideline, and that one goes out of bounds. A nice kneeling catch by the South Carolina State defensive back on the sideline.
Yes. And Richards his technique has fallen apart a little bit. He threw that one leaning back, and that's such a long throw for that opportunity. You've got to open those hips and drive the ball, especially in this weather. And he didn't do that on that pass. 2nd
down and 10. As Richard gets the new call from the near side. On his left side is the tailback Totten. They go on the pitch. Totten hit right after he gets it, but now there's room for him to go. He's at the 40-yard line and finally brought down from behind. Isaiah Totten runs hard, and he gets the 1st down.
Well, that's what there's there. They can attack that edge all day the way they got that slow trips to the boundary, and they haven't been doing that. And that was a good opportunity for Totten, and he made a quick cut. If he gets out of the gate, you see right here, it looks like he's going to get downhill and be gone. But South Carolina State does a really good job of hanging on for dear life and not allowing him to get further down the field.
Jalen Evans gets credited with the tackle for the Bulldogs, the redshirt sophomore from Hartsville, South Carolina, playing free safety today. And North Carolina Central is going to let this be the end of the 3rd quarter. 24-0, South Carolina State leads. And the Bulldogs looking like they'll have a chance to play for a title next week. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. The 4th quarter is
The world's never gotten enough of it. So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran and Joe Simmons here from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium entering the 4th quarter. South Carolina State leading 24-0 as the Eagles will hand this one off to Isaiah Totten. Totten will be stopped, and the flags are going to be thrown for continuation after the play was done. And it looks like the Eagles might get some extra yardage.
Yeah, another 15 added on to that, so it'll be another 1st down. And maybe that'll be some of the momentum change they need to actually get moving, as this is probably the best field position they've had that I can remember in the game.
And it's going to be a stark difference now on that South Carolina State sideline. It's going to be called against B.J. Davis for South Carolina State, but this South Carolina State sideline, they were rocking and rolling during the sideline, and head coach Buddy Pugh enjoying this day as well, on his way towards his 132nd career win at South Carolina State. As the snap goes low, picked up by Davius Richard. Richard will make a juke and go upfield, and will take the tackle down to about the 28-yard line.
Did a nice job of extending the play, but one of the things that he probably needs to do more of, a few quarterback draws might not be a bad idea to call for him. As big as he is, it seems like every time he takes off with the ball, he gets positive yards, and most of the time it's out of necessity. Just imagine if you design a few things for him, how much better it would be.
2nd down and mid to gain. Starting the 4th quarter, North Carolina Central trying to get into the scoreboard, but South Carolina State gets into the backfield at the mesh point. Ball comes loose, and the Bulldogs get on top of it. It looked like North Carolina Central had a no-yes moment, but it goes back to a no as the Bulldogs get it back. That's the 3rd turnover forced by the Garnet and Blue today.
Yeah, when you're doing as much as he was trying to do on that play, something bad eventually is going to happen. And I like the effort and I like the energy, but when you try to do too much like that, a lot of times you become vulnerable, and you see what happens as the ball got punched out at the end of the run.
So the Bulldogs will take over, and now North Carolina Central going to try to do their best to defend head coach Trey Oliver. As we talked about, he's in his 1st year here at North Carolina Central, and of course, gonna wish that it had gone a little bit better at home this year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what they've done this year has been phenomenal so far, and this one's far from over. Anything can happen, but you'd like to see the defense come up with a big play right here, do something to change the tide of the game. We know they're going to be running the football, so maybe a strip would be a big play right here.
14 minutes to go in regulation. The Bulldogs going to a 2-back set. They'll hand it off, and stumbling forward, the tailback on the carry, Datron James. It's the first time we've said his name today, but a flag thrown during the carry.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a hold.
78. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So holding called against Patrick McNeil. And it'll go back. The South Carolina State, they're doubling down on this run game. We've seen them with one tailback back there and now going to two backs. They're really about the business of keeping the ball on the ground and keeping the clock rolling. Yeah, they've gone to DeTron James, the guy you were talking about earlier. He's made his debut into the backfield. So first and 20, James on the left side. He's the bigger back. Snap and a handoff to him. The snap and the handoff nearly bobbled, but James carries it for a couple. Second down. You got LeBron Morris and DeTron James. So together they're LeBron James. Datron Morse. Yes.
No gain.
South Carolina State, they really created their separation on the ground in that second quarter. 102 yards on the ground in that second quarter and 0 passing yards. And that still allowed them to get into the end zone. LeBron Morris had a 3-yard carry. Morris had 135 yards on the ground in this game. Well, as much as people like to sling it, you still win games by controlling the line of scrimmage. Another handoff for Tyrese Nick on the sweep. He turns the corner, and he's heading up towards the original line of scrimmage to about the 34. And now third down. And he's dragging Eagle defenders with him, and he's a quarterback. You know, ex-quarterback moved to wide receiver, and he's carrying Eagle defenders like 3 and 4 yards.
He takes it out to the 30.
It's going to be 3rd and 8. So after it being 1st and 20, now 3rd and 8. Bulldogs have already gained a first down on their first 2 plays. They're going to try to do it on the scoreboard here on 3rd down. 4 for 12 on 3rd down. Pass on the screen, caught, slips past the first marker. Ball goes loose, it goes out of bounds. So the Bulldogs will hold on to it, but the question is, where do they mark it? Is it I think it's at the point of the fumble, correct? If it goes out?
It is. The point of the fumble.
There's a fumble forward out of bounds. By rule, the ball is returned to the spot of the fumble. 4th down.
So return to the spot of the fumble, now 4th down. The Eagles catch a break. But it's now coming to a point where North Carolina Central really just has to capitalize.
Yeah, you see the play right here. The quarterback gets it out to him quick. He's able to make the catch, make the first man miss, get up the field. But from the Eagles pursuing from the outside, come in, and that's the strip I was talking about, but just can't get the bounce we need. We needed that ball to stay in play and to scoop it up and try to get something out of it.
The Eagles will turn to a different returner. It'll be E.J. Hicks this time around, standing inside his own 25-yard line, waiting on this punt from Cliff Benjamin. Benjamin's punt high into the air. Hicks will watch it, and it'll bounce and be a touchdown at about the 30.
The ball will be down.
That'll send us to a media timeout. 11.5 minutes remaining here in regulation. South Carolina State leading 24-0. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
Of doneness. So let's get after it. What would you like the power to do?
Network and ESPN3. Jonathan Duran with Joe Simmons. Eagles with the football at their own 31-yard line. South Carolina State with the lead, 24-0. Quick pass on the stop route, caught there at the top of the field, and still moving his way forward, fighting off tacklers left and right. Barry Campbell, and flags thrown once the play was done.
Yeah, he got hit with it. Might have been a targeting call because his momentum was stopped and somebody came in leading with the head. The crown of the helmet, so we'll see what they call.
Head referee talking it over. Rory Bernard making the call. And they're marking this down at the 42-yard line. And here's our call.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense. Number 50. 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
Andrew Dale called for the unsportsmanlike conduct, 15-yard penalty, and it'll still be first down.
Yeah, that's not good. That's unnecessary at that point.
So Barry Campbell throws the stiff arm. Just a heck of an effort there to keep his legs moving forward.
Yeah, he did a good job, and right now it looked like it was going to be a great play at the end, and unfortunately.
Next snap is low. Richard dives on top of it back to about the 13. When it rains, it pours.
Man, it's like Murphy's Law out there.
11 minutes to go. Second down and about the Durham freeway to go for North Carolina Central here.
2nd and 23.
2nd and a 23 is the call from the PA announcer. 4 receivers on each side. Two receivers split on each side as Richard picks up the snap. And he's going to be brought down in the backfield again. And there is a sack for South Carolina State. 3rd down and even longer for North Carolina Central.
3rd down and a trip to my car. The communication building.
A lot of construction going on campus. It's changed the parking situation around here at North Carolina Central. Campus growing a lot. From our vantage point, we can see a new residence hall going up behind the visiting stand. They'll go on the screen to the near side, caught by Pratt. Pratt looking for some blockers. He has them. He runs through the tackle up to the 25-yard line, and he'll go out of bounds there. So the Eagles go back to about the original line of scrimmage. That means that pass was good for almost 20 yards.
Yeah, did a good job.
But it's 4th down.
Just rough. You keep digging holes, bad snap, sack, penalty, and you can't win like that. And the good job by the quarterback getting it out. Pratt shows you some elusiveness in the open field. Breaks a couple of tackles, and the safety's able to get him out of bounds.
Great block thrown downfield there by E.J. Hicks as well. Those tunnel screens, it really comes down to the blocking from the wide receivers, and they did what they needed to do. 4th and 10, the Eagles punting. Snap is clean to Baccaro. Snap and the punt on the way. Caught at the 30-yard line. Shaking through a couple, still on his feet, brought down to the 40-yard line, and that's where South Carolina State will take over. They lead 24-0 with 9 minutes to go here in regulation. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
More of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3. 24-0, South Carolina State leads. 9 minutes to go in regulation. South Carolina State is ready. They throw this one on the screen to the quarterback, and he meets a brick wall in Manny Smith. Tyrese Nick got a little more than he bargained for on that screen.
Got a little nicked up after that one. A nice job setting it up, getting the ball out quick to him. A nice tight spiral with plenty of time, but an excellent job of reading it by the defender. And Nick brought a little bit to the party, too. He didn't get knocked on his back. He hit the defender going backwards and sideways. So he showed a little bit of strength right there on the play.
2nd and 13, a loss of 3, and South Carolina State still milking this clock for all it's worth for the rest of this contest. Making their substitutions. 5 seconds to snap it. And the Bulldogs still looking, and they're going to have to take a delay of game penalty here.
Timeout, South Carolina State. 30-second timeout.
A timeout instead. 30-second timeout. Tickets for the 2020 MEAC basketball tournament, March 10th to the 14th at Norfolk Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia, are on sale now at MEAC member institution ticket offices, Ticketmaster outlets, and the MEAC office by calling 757-951-2055. Visit MEACHoops.com for more information. So we're taking a look now at what's helped South Carolina State build up this big lead.
Yeah, that first touchdown was a benefit on the short field, and they've had the short field most of the day-to-day. The Eagles have had very few big plays. Here's one where they made a great play out of something that could have been bad with the catch on the flat route, instead as the defender was stepping in front. And then you see South Carolina State come back and run the football downhill, and LeBron has had a really good day-to-day running inside and between the tackles. Not a lot of outside runs, but the Eagles have struggled a little bit with opportunities, but this is one of the big plays that they made as Richards was able to run the ball on the outside and get to the edge. Not a lot of opportunities like that today.
Back on the field after the timeout. South Carolina State on the keeper with Corey Fields. Fields watches his blocker, and he will stutter step his way up to about the 47.
Yeah, good job and read on the pull that time as the end closed all the way down, which meant that there was easy access to the outside. And Fields just took what the defense was giving him and was able to get to the corner and get about 7 yards on the play.
3rd and 2. South Carolina State on the 46-yard line. The Bulldogs again very relaxed as they look to the sideline to get the new call. Taking this game down, burning all of the air away. As Corey Fields waits on the next snap, has it, and they'll hand it off on the corner, and there's room there for the tailback, Datron James. And slowly and steadily, South Carolina State marching downfield.
Yeah, James did a good job of being patient at time and allowing the guard to get up on the linebacker, and it made it easier for him to get that 5 yards on that carry.
Darius Royster, he's done everything he could for this North Carolina Central defensive line. Had a strong season after being a walk-on and not playing on scholarship last year, on his way to being named the preseason MEAC Defensive Player of the Year. A chance for him to be named postseason Player of the Year as well for what he's done. One of the leaders in the league in tackles and in tackles for loss as well. The Bulldogs with the first down. They go back to Datron James. James with a hop step, and he's able to dive forward for another first down.
Now, James is a different kind of back. He's a little bit bigger, but he's got a little bit more wiggle than LeBron has, and he's shown the ability now to make a big play on some of those runs on the inside. So they beat you up with the running inside all day, and then you change a pace back comes in, and it can get dangerous for that defense if they're not careful.
1st and 10 once again for SC State. Taking their time. And Datron James, as he's come in now, has been getting some carries. 3 carries now for 16 yards. That was his longest of the game for 11. LeBron Morris, 135 yards. Of course, the numbers on average have come down with the volume of carries, but still averaging over 5 yards a carry. Back to Datron James again. And he's even going to get about 2 or 3. But it's just been showing 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry. This offensive line for South Carolina State opening doors left and right.
Yeah, the interior has been great for South Carolina State offensively and defensively. Both interior lines have shown a lot of strength and a lot of power, and they've muscled the Eagles around on pretty much all day today. And I think that's one of the things that with a younger team that the Eagles are playing with that they're going to have to work on is getting their strength up to par so they can compete in the trenches with some of these teams. You see a lot of breakdowns and a lot of letdowns on series that go more than 5 or 6 plays, and a lot of that is just physical difference in strength.
The outlier, Tyree Snick, 4 carries for 40 yards. Quick math, that's 10 yards a carry. Nearly had a touchdown, but LeBron Morris has 2. They'll keep it with Datron James, a nice jump cut, but Jerome Foster drives him back.
Yeah, Jerome Foster was having none of that time. He was in a B-gap blitz and came up and was able to knock it down in the hole, and a good job of wrapping up. We've seen situations like that where sometimes we overrun those plays, but he did a good job of squaring up and honoring his gap integrity and making the tackle on the play.
As college football celebrates its 150th year, you see the 150 stencil at midfield that's been happening all year long. The MEAC is proud to document and showcase some of the legendary coaches throughout the history of black college football, highlighting such greats as Willie Jeffries, Bill Hayes, Billy Joe, Rod Broadway, Marino the Godfather Kasem, and others. Visit MEACsports.com and the MEAC's YouTube channel to watch these interviews. As we look on the screen here at Corey Fields, had a great season and doing what he can for South Carolina State today as he rolls out, looking to pass, pump fakes once, and he'll throw this one out of bounds. He's out of the tackle box, but a flag thrown downfield as well.
Yeah, if they see a flag like that, that means somebody was being held.
Now, it looks like it might benefit North Carolina Central. Let's see what the call is.
I think it's going to be holding on us. You see a flag back there with the quarterback rolling left is usually a hold.
Had a referee opening up the belt pack. Here's the call.
Defense, number 19, 10 yards, automatic first down.
And North Carolina Central not doing themselves any favors. Like you said, the hold there committed by Justin Nicholson. And now 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line with just 4 minutes to go here in regulation.
And one of the things you've noticed at South Carolina State, they're running interior players in and out of the game on offense too, which is something that you rarely see. They changed tackles twice. They've changed guards twice in the last couple of drives, and they're getting a lot of starters out of there now and giving some of their backups a chance. And their backups are winning at the point of attack too.
10 seconds to snap for SC State. Fields hands it off to the tailback, and nothing doing this time around for Omar Cummings. Now second down.
Omar Cummings, the ball carrier.
Yeah, they basically brought a lot of backups in now, and they're just going to allow some guys to play who haven't played a lot and get them an opportunity. They're taking about all the starters off the offensive line out one by one on this drive.
2nd and 10. Bulldogs keeping the ball on the ground. For those of you joining us locally, you can join us for our Eagles postgame report, presented by Kimberly Williams Right Time Realty, right here on the NCCU Sports Network. 2nd and 10. They'll motion the slot receiver from left to right. Fields happy with the formation, takes the new snap, has to jump to get it, but he'll hand it off to Cummings, and Cummings throws his shoulder into a wave of defenders and will bounce forward for about 6 yards, 3rd down.
Yeah, did a good job of attacking on the inside, hit by the linebacker, run through him, and just kept driving his legs for a couple more yards.
So 3rd and mid to gain now for South Carolina State. Just trying to melt this game away. They've done a great job at it so far. Keep moving along, trying to end this game either with the score or in possession of the football. 2.5 minutes to go, and the Bulldogs have been on this football for the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, this is that 8-minute offense that everybody has where they just try to hope to run the ball and make big plays.
And they're going to have some more yards to go after this snap sails over the head of the quarterback. He dives on it back at the 40. So the first down no longer on the table. So look at the snap, goes right over the head of Corey Fields.
Yeah, one of those situations where they probably had a backup center in, and he was a little excited about the opportunity and snapped it over the quarterback's head.
E.J. Hicks will go out to return. Under 2 minutes to go in regulation. Winds will pick up once again. Blowing stiffly from left to right. We reached 18-mile-per-hour wind gusts during this game. And this thing is it hasn't really been gusting. It's been steady all day long. Snap clean to the punter. Benjamin sends it off high into the air. And it will bounce at the 20. And down inside the 13. 24-0, South Carolina State leads with 81 seconds remaining in regulation. This is MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
The world's never gotten enough of it. So, we proudly bring you more of it. The new 911. Timeless machine.
Work in ESPN3, Jonathan Duran here alongside Joe Simmons. Eagles with the football. They went quickly to Trevion Pratt. Pratt trying to go off to the races. Turns the defender behind him and all the way up to about the 36 there on the first play out of the gate on this new possession for North Carolina Central.
Nice job that time of getting it out quick, and Pratt showed a lot of ability with the run after the catch. And South Carolina State still has a lot of backup players on the field with a few starters. But they're giving a lot of guys an opportunity to play, but I'm sure they're going to want to try to keep the Eagles out of the end zone.
1 minute to go. Richard, the pass again to the near side, incomplete. Try to go back to the screen to Pratt. They can't do it. Now second down.
Incomplete. Intended for Pratt.
So second down and 10.
2nd and 10.
Joe, as we make our way towards the end of this game, what have you seen from South Carolina State as they get ready to play for a championship next week?
A lot of speed and a real physical team up front. One of the most physical teams I think we've probably seen all year as far as physicality up front. But I like how they play the game. They play the game running the football downhill, but they also they pay attention to detail on the interior, and I think that's one of the things that makes good teams gives good teams the ability to win a lot of games.
Davius Richards, you saw that incomplete pass, but he put every bit into that throw down that sideline.
He did. He's got the wind at his back, too, which makes it tough to throw deep balls in that situation unless you add a little bit of air. And when you add a little bit of air, sometimes the ball's going to travel a little further, especially when you got 18 and 19 mile-an-hour winds.
Pass incomplete to the near side to Freeman. And it's going to be 4th down now for North Carolina Central. 49 seconds to go. And barring a big play here, and I think North Carolina Central is going to go out to punt, this might end up to be the first time that the Eagles will be shut out in their last 11 games.
Yeah, why do you punt in this situation? I mean, if they get the ball back, they're going to down it. So unless you're just padding your punter stats, it makes absolutely no sense.
So John Picaro sent out to punt, back to return for South Carolina State will be Davis. Punt goes to him, waits for it, has it at the 22. Stutter step, and he'll be brought down at about the 28, and that's going to tie this game up. South Carolina State is going to stop what was a 3-game win streak for North Carolina Central against the Bulldogs and serve the Eagles their first shutout in 11 games.
Yeah, it's rough right now. You look at last week, we had a trouble stopping Norfolk State, and this week we've had problems scoring points. So it's a balance of problems and inconsistencies, and that's one of the things that, as with the new coaching staff, you expect a few of those things, and with a young team, you expect a few of those things. So you've got plenty of things to work on as you move into the last football game of the year to set the tone going into the offseason.
North Carolina A&T, they defeat Bethune-Cookman by a final score of 47-17, so the scene is set for next week. The Aggies trying to pick up a win over North Carolina Central, and South Carolina State trying to beat Norfolk State. Both of those teams succeed. They will have a share of the title, and then it comes down to which team goes to the Celebration Bowl. As South Carolina State kneels this one out, and this game is going to head to its conclusion. South Carolina State, they come up to Durham, and they lock down the Eagles on their way to a 24-0 shutout. South Carolina State, earlier this year, they fell by 2 points to North Carolina A&T. So the Aggies, if they win next week, they go to the bowl. If North Carolina Central beats North Carolina A&T, South Carolina State wins, they go to the bowl. Make sure you stay tuned to the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3 next week for the fantastic conclusion of the 2019 MEAC football season. That'll just about do it from the Bull City of Durham, North Carolina. Your final score, South Carolina State 24, North Carolina State 0. For Joe Simmons, I'm Jonathan Duran saying so long from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. Thank you for watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. For those of you joining us locally, stay tuned for our Eagles postgame report presented by Kimberly Williams, Right Time Realty. This has been MEAC Football on the MEAC Digital Network and ESPN3.
This is North Carolina Central Football on the NCCU Sports Network.
Spoken for Communications specializes in speech-language pathology and occupational therapy for children of all ages and is a proud sponsor of NCCU Athletics. Spoken for Communications serves clients from Durham County to Bertie County. For more information on Spoken for Communications, call 919-361-1090 or online at www.spoken-4.com. Spoken for Communications, because every child deserves to be heard.
The Sheraton Imperial Hotel, located in Durham, is just minutes away from the NCCU campus. This full-service hotel with 331 guest rooms and 34,000 square feet of banquet and meeting space can meet all your lodging and event needs. Whether it is a family or class reunion, church organization, or corporate function, our newly renovated ballrooms await you. The Sheraton Imperial Hotel is a proud supporter of NCCU Athletics.
Here's a real post from a real Chick-fil-A guest. At Our Foodie Ventures writes, quick lunch today. A Chick-fil-A grilled chicken club sandwich never disappoints. Chicken emoji, licking lips emoji. Thanks, our foodie ventures. Glad Chick-fil-A could be part of your ventures. It's the little things that make our grilled chicken club sandwich worth the trip, like the backyard grilled flavor in every bite. Also, did we mention it has bacon? Insert bacon emoji. Share your stories at Chick-fil-A with hashtag the little things.
As a multi-million-dollar producer, Kimberly Williams, owner of Right Time Realty, has been assisting buyers and sellers for over 17 years. So if you or someone you know is looking to buy or sell a home, now is the right time to call Kimberly. Call 919-391-TIME or visit her on the web at timetobuyahouse.com. That's 919-391-TIME or timetobuyahouse.com. North Carolina Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat is now part of Duke Health. NCEENT offers complete eye care, including LASIK and cataract surgery, ear, nose, and throat care, including allergy and sinus, hearing aid, and speech therapy. North Carolina Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat has 5 offices conveniently located in Durham, Cary, Chapel Hill, and Roxborough. Same-day appointments are available. Call 919-595-2000 or go to nceent.com. North Carolina Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat is a proud sponsor of NCCU Athletics.
Don't just throw a tailgate, own the tailgate with a Bojangles Big Bow Box. Only Bojangles brings the flavor to every tailgate with mouth-watering chicken, fresh buttery biscuits, flavorful fixings, and